Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another installment of Us versus Movies, a Spooktober. I'm Kevin,
I'm Dustin.
and this time for the look at all the spooky. We're watching In the Mouth of Madness, John Carpenter, 95 minutes, 1995, a rated R. It's a little bit of drama, a little bit of horror, and a touch of mystery. You
can touch my mystery.
What the hell? Jeez Louise.
Kevin, how are you not telling people this is also the first episode that we are in person having this podcast? So if it all goes down in flames, that's why, everybody.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you read Sutter Kane.
Do you read Sutter Kane?
I would have been like, fuck reading.
Fucking, what's a book? You fucking hillbilly honky, get out of here.
Like, it's 95. I bet, oh, my bad.
Are we in the city, or where did you come from, Hillbilly Joe?
Well, his name's not Hillbilly Joe, it's John Trent, and that's played by the immaculate Kiwi that is Sam Neill. This man is a cinema treasure.
Jurassic Park 3,
The Parkening.
The Parkening. What else has he been in?
Dude, it's more of like, what hasn't he been in? One of my favorites. It's got some problems, it's got some issues, but I kind of love it more than I hate it. Event Horizon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was just like, I'm doing all the horror stuff, and then the giant dinosaurs will really derail my career with my popularity.
Well, I think what makes him so good in the horror stuff, he just has that, he's a real classy guy when he speaks. You know what I mean? He just has that bravado about him where when he speaks, you're just like, yeah, Sam, tell him how it is.
Tell me how fucked everything is in your psyche.
Well, he does, and he lets you know.
It wasn't, Event Horizon was 95, so he did this, and did you say 94 or 95 for this one?
This is 95, Horizon was 97.
97, okay.
So,
So 2 years later, he was just like, I'm crazy again, everybody, in the movies.
Yeah,
This is space in the mouth of madness.
I like him. I've always liked this guy, and when I see him come around, I'm like, there's going to be a quality performance coming out of that man.
He pretended to gut that kid with a velociraptor claw in Jurassic Park, I was like, fucking get him.
I don't know, I'm not into dinosaurs. I didn't see that one.
What the fucking wrong is...
I saw the first one.
I love this man. He's a national treasure, but fuck a dinosaur.
Yeah, he's not going to bring me around to that dino bullshit.
Jesus. This is...
Where were their feathers? They fucked those things all up.
That was before we knew they were giant birds, Kevin.
Bummer.
Now dinosaurs are disappointing, and I don't even bother teaching them to anyone that's related to
Only
me.
dinos I know are the bot variety. John Carpenter?
Yep.
I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's pretty much a legend.
And he also does the soundtrack.
Legend.
The soundtrack is not legendary, but
Hey, he's a fucking legend.
he is a legend.
Soundtrack is very 90s. That is probably the weakest part of the experience.
It feels like leftover 80s to me,
You think?
personally. Yeah.
I think the whole... Which is kind of the positive for me. The whole movie had a very 80s vibe to it.
For
even
sure.
though it was those suits everyone was wearing would have told you otherwise.
Yeah.
Except for Sam. He played...
Sam was like, does this suit fit me? Nope. Find out more.
He wasn't a big problem in the costume front. You know what I mean? When you got to the publishing house, everyone was just real 90s. And it also did that thing where everyone's just walking around. You're like,
Constantly.
How many people fucking work here? Get out of your desk.
Someone fucking sit down and do some goddamn work.
Yeah. Well, is that all the information? Hold on 1 second.
I mean, it's got that one guy.
Oh, you want to go over?
Kane.
Yeah.
I don't remember what isn't he Khan?
Is he?
No, I don't think he is. I don't remember. He was familiar, but I was just like...
Well, it's got Julie Carmen as Linda Stiles. I thought she was pretty hot in this. Was that okay to say? She kind of had a little sultriness to it.
The minute she got in the car, I'll say yes.
Oh, you like her with her hair down. I got you there.
Yeah. When she was in the office workplace, she was kind of bizarre.
Hair up, not feeling it? That's fair.
Not feeling it.
Dude, John Glover's in this.
Yeah. What about Sutter Kane? What about the guy who played...
Bernie Casey Robinson. He was one of the dudes in the Lambdas and Revenge of the Nerds. Remember that?
I do, but I don't know who you're talking about. I do know that the The one guy was the painting from Ghostbusters 2.
What?
I'm pulling most of this out of thin air. The farmer who offs himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was the one trying to steal some babies with slime running under New York. Who was Sutter Kane?
Dude, I'm not going to be able to say the name.
What?
Uringe Pronko now?
Alright, what's he been in? I care more about that.
Dune. The Boat. Das Boot. The English Patient. In the Mouth of Madness. A Hidden Life. Lore. All your favorites.
Not really. I don't think I saw any of those. I guess he just has a face I recognize. Maybe I saw the cover for Das Boot too much.
It's a submarine.
I know. That was the joke, Kevin. I know the cover's a submarine.
No, everyone's whispering, oh my god.
I know, it was for other people. They're going to be like, oh, is he on the cover? They're going to look it up and be like, oh, he's not on the fucking cover. This guy got me again.
Yeah, that's the first thing they're going to do.
Bait and switch.
Honey, load the kids up to the fucking Blockbuster. We got to check out this boat movie.
Ooh, true story. It's a double VHS. He had to rubber band them together. Not fun. That rubber band broke every single time someone threw it through the slot.
Michael DeLuca wrote this.
Yeah.
And he's got one of those names where you see it and you don't even think twice about him because you're like, that's a name that's got too many letters. And then you're like, wait a minute.
No, it looked familiar. I was like, who is this guy?
It should, because he's done a ton of shit.
I bet, yeah. You're going to tell me some of them?
Social Network.
Ugh.
A Captain Phillips. Maybe you heard of it. Brothers. Moneyball. The Babysitters Club.
Oh, so he's an Oscar guy.
The Kitchen.
The Kitchen? Oh, the new one?
Yeah, that just came out not too long ago.
That's based off your favorite comic book, Kevin.
Though, I didn't finish that. You're thinking of another person.
No. That was sarcasm.
Oh.
You hated it.
It was
The
lost.
cars were drawn horribly, remember?
Yeah, that wasn't
I
me.
remember.
That wasn't me. I didn't care about that.
No, you read it too.
Yeah, I read it. I didn't like the book. I didn't give a shit about the cars.
You're the one that pointed out the cars were wonky.
Or was it me?
That was you.
Well, Steve.
It was not Steve. You both talked about it, but it was you. This is going horribly, everyone. Anyway, he's written everything. He wrote this movie, which I will say, when I saw it, was my first meta horror experience. Which I'm sure a lot of people had a very meta horror experience.
This was a meta experience.
Meta horror.
Like,
meta.
you gotta sandwich it. They do it so viciously.
Yeah. I believe
Start off with an insane asylum.
you start off driving up to the insane asylum,
Which
and
is
it's a beautiful insane asylum.
It's a
I was
beautiful
like, it's
location.
beautiful.
It's a fantastic shot. It eases you into it. You're following this journey. Glides up there, this like little hill takes you up
Very
there.
picturesque.
It's great. Doors open. We got Trent's being pulled out, and he looks crazy. He's sweaty. He's gross. He's got the straight jacket on.
Very
there.
dirty.
He's dirty as hell.
Yeah.
They're dragging him up, and they're like, "Listen." No one really actually speaks to him. He's just kind of frantic and saying, "No, that's not
He's
me."
yelling. Yeah, I guess the director is very calm. He almost looks like the guy from Ghostbusters as well.
Yeah,
I
he has
wanna
the
say.
little puffy hair and a bow tie, and that's real.
Wait, no, it says the red hair in the face, but you know.
And they're like, "Hey, man, looks like we got him. Hey, bring him on in." Yeah, Trent's kicking and screaming, and he Phil Golds this guy's nutbag.
I'm sorry about the nuts. It was a lucky shot.
I love that.
I was like, this is the first line?
The first line is apologizing for getting your ball bag wrapped.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings you like, well, he's not a monster, right? He's not a disgusting person. You know what?
Yeah, he understands.
He took the male credo and been like, hey, man, I fucking parted your berries and I'm sorry because what that happens to me, and happens to any man, there's a little bit of compassion. Unless you're out to, Captain Berry crunch their shit. But Trent was like, no, man, that wasn't the intention. I was just trying to protect myself. I don't want to get locked up in this fucking insane asylum because I'm not crazy. They're crazy. I'm not wrong. They're wrong. These voices in my head are right.
John Glover was the guy that
Oh, yeah, I could have told you that.
Yeah, sorry. Well, he didn't, so... But yeah, so... He gets locked. He gets locked in. Number 9, I think it is, or 7. I don't know.
Yeah, the director's pretty stoked that we got him. And
I don't know why. I think he's just...
I think because there's a bunch of hype and hyperbole and shit all about him. They want to, like, he's the man. Because
I didn't get that impression, but okay.
I think it plays better later at the end of the movie because this movie does the same thing. It kind of bookends itself. It starts,
yeah,
and then it ends at the exact same spot. And you kind of get. It does something I kind of hate where he's like, let me tell you a story. And I'm like, man, just show me the movie. You don't have to do that. But I didn't really hate it in this example.
Well, it's very fitting.
It fits because they kind of let it fit.
Yeah.
We get this other doctor. What is it? What is his name?
Oh, I just had it, but...
Anyway, they've been looking for him, and they show up. They're like, hey, man, you got him? And he's like, yeah. And the best thing is everyone's kind of referencing, like, how's it going out there? Is it pretty bad? And you're like, what?
David Warner as Dr. Wern.
Yeah, Dr. Warren, yeah. He comes in and he's like, is it pretty bad? He's like, and Warren no-sells it. He's like, whatever, dude.
Wait, hold on. You're forgetting about the part real quick. That's the part I was trying to touch on. He's like, I'm not crazy. And then everyone starts yelling, if he's not crazy, I'm not crazy.
Oh, yeah, your local crazies do their best to be like, yeah, we're all crazy.
And then they play the Carpenters to calm him down. He's like, not the Carpenters.
He's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah. And it's just like nothing worse than the Carpenters. But then, Dr. Wern comes in. He's just like,
all business.
He's like, did he have any requests? And he's like, just a single black crayon. And I was like, really? Because it looks about 90 were used in here. But okay, just one? Whatever.
So what Dustin's talking about is when you go into his padded cell that has literally like
a bucket.
A bucket for the pee and Z poo. And like a, I don't know, like some sort of like yoga mat on the floor for him to rest on.
That's a futon.
It was brutal. He's taken that one crayon and he's decorated the whole room like it's top to bottom, pillow, sheets. I think the bucket had some.
His face.
His
clothes.
The clothes that they've given him, and he looks like a SoundCloud rapper now. He's got all the crosses on his face.
He was a SoundCloud rapper before it was cool.
He looks like, yeah. And I was like, man, this is where all the little Uzi Verts got that from. The Post Malone, he's just like, fuck me under his eyes and shit.
He was like, you know what? I can't pull off the all crosses look.
He did, though.
But Sam could, yeah.
Oh, Sam could.
I mean, Trent could. I'm talking about Post Malone. Post Malone couldn't. So he was like, just get like a shoe on me. Like he has like a boot over here now or something. I don't know.
Cool.
It's like the Grim Reaper's leg or some shit.
Oh, wow.
But no, Trent has all the crosses, every cross imaginable. None of them upside down though, because he's like, that's the bad church.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get down with the good one.
Yeah, I would too after what he's seen.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't because I'd assume God is dead based on what I've seen, but
that's true.
You know. And yeah, Dr. Warren kind of calls him out on it. He's like, this is he's like, I'm here to help you get released. And he's like, no, I'm good.
I'm safer in here.
Yeah, I'm safer in here. And he's just like, well, I have an orderly's whose nuts are still on ice that says you really want to leave. He's like, ooh.
That was the best part. Okay, you have a horror movie that's trying to build up tension, right?
Yeah.
And there's 2 ball kick jokes in the first 10 minutes, masterfully done. Like,
masterful.
It made me chuckle when he rocked that dude. I was like, "Oh, you got rocked, dude!"
Yeah.
And then the orderly, when he retracts and heads back, and the director's kind of like of the institution's like, "Yeah, man, we got him. I'm gonna put in the call to Dr. Warren that we got him." The orderly selling his nuts like,
No, he did. Like,
but you don't laugh at the orderly. You kind of feel bad for him. It's more of the reaction.
I believe that there was a misfire and he really got wrapped in the nuts.
He's like, hey, man, I do my own stunts. But, hey, man, if I knew the scene call for my ball bag to be fucking put to the moon, I'd cup up. I don't know what Sam, he might be, maybe he didn't get all his winks that day.
Maybe I put a sock there. Soften the blow.
man.
Something. Anything.
Maybe I put another sock there because I'm a sock guy. You know what I mean? I
got
gotta send the ladies a message.
Sock packer. Okay.
Yeah. I get a
Pack
6.
the socks.
I go to Costco. I get those.
I'm getting a 6-pack of fucking Kirkland fucking crew socks.
And I'm packing them in my shorts.
Packing them all in.
Dick is small.
My dick is tiny. I need all the pack. Do you not know how to pack a sock for a dick? Ladies do not understand this.
I get the thick winter socks for the boots, for the Kirkland.
If it's a pool day, you could count there being a lot of socks in that
Soaking
fucking
it all
Speedo.
up. You get me.
I mean, it's heavy. A lot of water pours out. I feel soggy and disgusting, but no one's going, look at that tiny dick man showing no dick.
Because that's pressure. All right.
That's body shaming. Don't you dare.
So Warren's like, I heard that you're a little on the side. And Trent's like, hey, man, you read books?
No. He goes, oh, you want to hear about my them?
Yeah.
And he's like, you're them? He's like, yeah, my them, my thing, you're here for my... Like, my boogity boogity.
Yeah, why am I cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
Yeah. It's not that fucking bird. It's chocolate. First thing in the morning. That's why.
It's fucking delicious. He's like, dude, I know. I'm a Pebbles guy.
So he's just like, sit down. Take a seat. The other guy brought a chair in for you. So I'll sit on the floor and just look up at you like a little kid.
And Warren gave us... I like that. I like that, like... visual hierarchy of like, I'm not buying anything you're fucking selling. Make me a believer. Preach your shit to me. And Trent pops out he gets a cigarette from him, and I'm like, I like that.
Yeah.
Not smoking, but I like that character tick about him that he holds on to through the whole movie. And I think a lot of movies lose that in their character, but he quote unquote stayed in character the whole time with that. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, he's not a forgetful smoker.
Yeah,
that's always the worst. It's like no one who smokes is just like, oh, here's some shit I'm going through, so I'm just gonna not do that.
Yeah, he's super habitual with it, and then when the shit gets really uncomfortable, he kind of starts going for him a little bit more.
Definitely.
So, and I thought that really shined through. I guess it was just like, I believe this man.
I believe he's smoked a couple packs in one day.
Smoke him if you got
doing this. I believe John Carpenter was like, you smoke now, Sam. But he was just like, well, it's a nasty habit, but I guess this is what's killing me. Thanks, John.
Took my wife, took my pappy, took my grandpappy, took my grandpappy's pappy, took my grandma, mom, but fuck it, that's a movie, let's do it. Is that a gimmick cigarette? No, it's real. I'm addicted.
I'm addicted, like, a lot. Gonna have to get hypnotherapy to get out of this shit. But anyway, so he begins telling his story about, he's like, Sutter Kane. He's like, do you read Sutter Kane? And we flash back to the actual beginning of the story, and it's Trent.
He's at work, man, because he's an insurance investigator, right? You try to pull some sort of side hustle on him, he will take that shit and he will crack your asshole open and find out the truth. He don't fucking play. This motherfucker's like, he was like fucking Batman with this shit. He was like, you took a piss.
To be fair, it was a really easy case to crack. Like,
pretty easy, but he had that guy smoking. He didn't even smoke. Yeah. He had him sweating.
That was probably my only problem, is that guy was sweating so profusely. And then Trent was like, halfway through the interrogation, you want me to turn on the AC? And the guy was like, no, I'll just give me the check and I'll leave. And I was just like...
He said turn on the AC. That was a power move, Dustin. He was running shit. He was like, I want to let you know I got you fucked 5 ways.
But the guy was already sweating his balls off at that point. Like,
yeah, but that's a power move. He's saying, I can turn this AC on. I can make it all go away. Tell me what I want to hear, you fuck.
Well, you should have known the guy was going to say no.
Well, Robinson is basically the Bernie Casey guy. He's hired Trent to kind of just do these like side jobs for him. He's kind of Trent's like a gun for hire.
He's an independent. Yeah, like you call him in when you got a tough case to crack. Yeah, a tough case of fraud.
And I think, this fraud. But you got to remember, man, he had a bunch of moving pieces. We had a wife that was supposedly in on this fraud. We had a mistress that was in on this fraud.
Well, he's like, I talked to your wife, and she's wearing some of the stuff you reported. Burned in the fire, and it shows a big fur coat. And he's like, and then I talked to insert mistress's name here because it doesn't really matter and I don't remember it.
I got your side bitch over here wearing these Gucci slippers.
She was also wearing a fur coat that you said burned in the fire. Funny thing is, when I showed your wife the picture of the mistress, she became my best fucking friend.
The wife was like, new hoe, who this? I was like, oh, wow.
Oh. So.
See, I like Trent, though, because he sweated him, and then he showed him why he was going to sweat him.
Showed up red and sweaty, Kevin. He was just from the South. I think he just lives his life that way every day. They were in New York. I don't even know if that guy was acting, okay? That's what I'm saying. He looked like a Southern gentleman out of his element. He was like, sure, it's hot up here. How you goddamn Yankees doing?
But that's what I liked about him, because I believed all that was from Trent. I believed everything. He's like, this man's going to go away for a long time. His wife just sold him up the fucking shit creek. His mistress, she wanted those new Yeezys. She ain't going to get them because he's in prison.
Just got to look for a new sugar daddy.
Exactly. The sugaring was gone. This daddy was dried up.
Yep.
But I don't know. It kind of showed he was alpha, right?
Yeah.
And he ruled. And he lives in practicality, right? He lives in the real world. He lives in these things. He's like, this is this, and this is this, and I proved it to you. I'm all about facts.
Yeah, he's all about the facts. It also showed kind of his ego. He definitely
he's
got
cocky
off on all of that.
Oh, yeah,
that
slam
was
dunk.
his favorite fucking thing.
He liked the sweating.
Yeah. So when he goes to the diner with his employer, and his employer's like, come work for me full time.
Yeah, Robinson's like, dude, you're the ace. I need you on my fucking payroll.
Like, my other adjusters, they can't smell fraud if you staple it to their nose. So I was like, Jesus Christ, they suck a lot.
You should fire them, Robinson.
Yeah, you should fucking fire them. Like, or get a better training system. I don't know.
Robinson, you should give them the axe.
Ooh, someone knows what he just did there. So he's talking about his next case. He's like, all right, I need you to do this Sutter Kane thing. Now, I will say, this movie's supposed to be grounded in reality, Kevin.
Yeah.
No death certificate, no insurance claim. No death certificate, no insurance claim. So, this whole story shouldn't even fucking happen because there's no fucking death certificate. That bothered me rewatching it. I never caught or cared when I was a kid. I was just like, that guy's got an axe across the street. I didn't pay attention to what they were saying. I don't even fucking... This time along, I barely caught what they said because I'm so fascinated by that guy with the axe across the street walking slowly towards them and no one's doing anything about it. But no death certificate, no insurance claim.
Right, because this scene right now, it's they're in a booth in a diner, and it's a really great shot. If you haven't seen the movie, just think of the Spider-Man scene where him and Mary Jane are sitting in the diner, and there's a big window, and you can see basically the city's alive behind them.
Spider-Man 2, by the way.
And the good one. And then you see...
the real good one.
You see this guy coming out of this crowd, and he's got like an axe, and he looks haggard.
Wait, we're talking about Spider-Man 2 still?
No, fuck Spider-Man 2. That one sucked.
No, it didn't. And he throws the fucking cab.
Yeah, that scene was kind of dumb.
That was a great... You shut your fucking mouth right now. We will have a Spider-Man 2.
They do the spin. It's all slow motion. I'm like, dude, easy, Raimi, easy. Wait till Spider-Man 3 and you get your shit together.
No, that's where the shit's loose as goose.
Then, so the Robinson and Trent are sitting there talking, and they're kind of just basically framing up our friend in the background. I really like it. He comes across the street. He's just slowly, methodically moving. And as the viewer, you're just kind of like, yeah, man, assurances. All you know is this guy wants to send the fucking Trent on another mission because Trent gets results, and that's all.
Sutter Kane.
Yeah, so Sutter Kane, and that's kind of introducing you to this, elusive horror writer that's just lighting the world on fire with all of his work because he's just the shit right now.
And Trent's like, who?
And Trent's like, I don't.
What's a Sutter Kane?
He's like, pop
other
culture.
Than a great name.
Pop culture and reading is for pussies. I don't do that. The only thing I do is I read the checks that I cash on that ass because I am Trent.
I only read case files. That's it. And usually after I've completed them. Boom!
So our axe-wielding friend keeps moving great, and they're holding on to him. He puts that axe through the windshield. He's like,
well, no, everyone else clears out, and they just sit there. Even other people in the restaurant clear out because they see this guy. These guys are so involved in their conversation that
about
they
making money.
Don't see anything. Yeah. Well, protecting the money, actually. And then the axe wielder, he puts it through the window, and he stands above Trent, and he's like, Do you read Sutter Kane? No, he doesn't say it like that. But I can resist. Kevin, do you have a better?
Hey, motherfucker, you're double parked.
Jesus.
And he's like, what are you talking about? I Ubered over here.
I Ubered. It sure doesn't exist yet. You should pay them. They're your employees, but I Ubered.
And then he cocks back to drive it right into fucking Trent's skull. And
Well, I like his eyes. Did you notice his eyes? He had like a double pupil thing.
Yeah. That was actually very cool because he was under...
It's not the pupil. What is that?
The iris?
Iris, sure.
He was under the influence, everyone.
Of Sutter Kane.
Yeah.
But then the cops are just like, pa 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 pa.
The cops are like, man, we're over here having a Danish, right? And then I see this motherfucker break the glass. And I'm like, hey, Teddy, you better turn around. I think that might be an axe-wielding homicidal maniac. And he's like, no, man, I'm about to finish this little nosh I got going on. So I'm like, Teddy, pull your fucking gun. Let's shoot this motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, no warnings, no freeze, no stop what you're doing.
Freeze? He's cocked back, bro. That's like 5 seconds in that.
I'm just saying, it just, furthers the narrative that police shoot first, ask questions later. I mean, it's right here, man? Black and white in front of me.
If
in 95.
So if a guy's got an axe cocked on your head, you want him to be like, can you guys get a
follow
freeze
the
out?
protocol.
Well, then we'll be...
I guess. Or, I don't know, Trent, maybe don't cower on the floor so fast.
What the fuck?
He fell on the floor and was just like, oops, I guess I'm getting it.
Here's the thing, everyone. Dustin lives in a fantasy world where he's like an
where we talk about fantasy worlds.
An action hero in every scenario where he's like, I don't get it. Why is he terrified? I don't get it. Why is there piss in his pants? I would have just caught the fucking axe with my fucking hands together and clapped.
Okay, then no offense, he should have sold me on that better because I was
Dude,
just like...
he was frozen.
I was
with
like, stand
fear.
up.
The other dude fell out of the fucking booth. He was so scared.
And stood up.
No, he laid on the ground. He looked at fucking Trent like, hey, man, we almost fucking died, but you first. And Trent was like...
first, man.
Trent looked at him like, I believed he was fucking terrified. Come on, man.
I think he was just alive at that point. He was just like, I need a smoke and a wank right now.
No.
In that order, and then another smoke. I think I'm going to have a smoke, wake, smoke sandwich.
I think he actually did a really good job of, like, being in that moment of, like, whoa, where was I? I mean, granted, might be a little more friskier when you start hearing glass shatter and shit, but hey, man, you're into getting that cheese. I ain't mad at you.
Well, anyway, the cops kill the axe-wielding maniac, and then Trent is, he's in. He's in on this case. He's off to meet Charleston Heston, Mr. NRA himself, who I'm supposed to believe runs a book publishing company. I don't think so. Because Charlton Heston only read one book, and that was the NRA handbook that he wrote, so... And sometimes the Bible.
So Trent goes in, and there's a movie called Hackers that does this exact same scenario where you're in a place of business of the office variety.
Yeah.
And there's just... It looks like a mall. And everyone's around wearing like 3-piece suits or just real...
And this is a book publishing.
But no one's at their desk. Everyone's just walking around, just kind of
no
bumping
one's
into
reading
shit.
anything.
No one's doing anything but walking around. I was like, oh, maybe this is like, their 15-minute break because they sit at the desk all day. Everyone does some laps around there casually. It wasn't.
No.
And that's the thing. It's just they're making this thing too busy and crazy. Where at least if I had some like... exposition from some random characters going, oh man, Sutter Kane's missing. We got to work extra hard to put that coloring book together that he's putting out because we just pimp his products.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand like a lot of phones ringing, a lot of people on the phones trying to do press recovery because at this point we do know that the world is they can't keep the books in stock.
Yeah,
this has been mentioned to us.
Literally, the term "hotcake selling" was coined by this guy because he is like a phenom. People are just frothing at the mouth,
selling king and all this other stuff. But we learned that in the meeting. So he goes into the meeting. Heston, as I'm calling him because I don't remember his character name. It's really not important to the story.
Jackson.
Whatever. Jackson. He kicks everyone out. And he starts talking to him. And then that's when... what's her name?
It's Linda Stiles. My favorite...
her character name.
Linda Stiles, asshole.
Oh, Stiles. Oh, Stiles shows up. That was her real name.
Told you the answer. My favorite part is when Trent goes in there and Jackson's like, hey man, can I get a minute? And there's like one dude like staring at the wall. And I'm like, bro, are you like looking at something that I can't see what you're looking at? You're literally just looking at a bookcase. Like, but he's just like standing there.
Yeah, fucking Kevin and bookcases.
And I was
Does
like,
your movie have a bookcase? Do you want Kevin to find it?
But this guy's just like looking at it. He's not like pouring a coffee or reading.
He was trying to find a book on the bookcase.
But he's like looking at it. It was like real Blair Witchy. He's just standing in the corner. Like, dude, get out of here. You're weirding everyone out.
Well, he was kicked out.
He was. He was asked to leave.
And
he
then
did promptly, like his job depended on it.
And then Styles comes in.
Bad bitch. She comes in. I just heard bad bitch.
She's just lingering behind him. He doesn't even know she's there. He starts smoking, of course. And basically, they just lay it out for him. They're like, Sutter Kane is missing. We either want him or the book that he promised us.
Our product.
Yeah.
Basically.
Back, or we want our lion's share of the money that we were supposed to get. Fair enough.
Right.
Option 1, 2, or 3 is fine.
So this company owns him, basically. They want their stuff, and basically Kane's their stuff. If he writes something, that's theirs. If he takes the shit, that's theirs. He's owned by them through and through.
Yeah, so the book he's written that they want is In the Mouth of Madness, which is our meta instantly because we're watching the movie In the Mouth of Madness. Yes. So Styles lays out, his writing is different. She recommends that Trent read it. And just that, they need the book. Fans are going crazy. His writing affects people in a certain way. And that's it. They're just like, fine, bring us Kane.
And the whole time, Trent's really downplaying everything. He's like, this is pop culture stuff. This is so dumb. Like, he's just kind of shitting on the whole idea of, like, people are finding this entertaining. He's above it, right? Because
And he's looking for the con. He's like, what's
the con? He's always looking for the con. So
yeah.
He's like, he likes the challenge. He's more of the hunt kind of guy. And then when he kind of tags him and bags him, he's like, I'm on to the next one. He doesn't really revel in the celebration.
Yeah. No.
I think
not anymore. Not after that axe guy came in and ruined his diner experience. So.
Yeah, now he figured but that's another thing. He's not really deterred. His character didn't really change from that. He didn't have a come to Jesus moment and shit where he was just like, oh man, I gotta live. I gotta start donating. I gotta think of the kids. Nothing. He was just like, smoke him if you got him. I'm invincible.
I got him. And we also do learn, he's like, well, why don't you just talk to the agent? And they're like, you already met the agent.
He's like, I did? Tell me more.
And he's like, the axe-wielding psycho? That was his agent. He read 2 chapters and then tried to kill you. So
Trent was like, damn.
He was like, oh, man.
So that's another thing. That's kind of like your first big nod into like what you're really in for, right?
Yeah.
So you saw how the story begins where... now you're kind of looking for that moment, man. When does Trent go topsy-turvy? Because he seems pretty alpha the whole time, and he takes no shit. So he's just not drinking the Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah.
Styles has already kind of pumped this guy up, and basically Jackson and Styles just put this guy over. Like, hey man, Kane's the real deal. He's doing all this, and he's like, have you read any of it? Jackson's like, hey man, I got a weak stomach. I can't handle any of his writing. His shit's too good.
Yeah. But, so Trent's like, okay, and then he leaves and has more conversations with Styles. She's like, you really should read his material. It'll help you understand. And he's just like, how about you read it to me over dinner?
I was like, I didn't blame him.
Yeah.
She had him In the Mouth of Madness mug. She walks out, some chick's like trying to get this merch approved and stuff, and she's signing off on it. And that kind of, it does 2 things, right? It shows you, of course, how mega popular he is. Yeah. It also shows Trent is like, this is just a dog and pony show. This is stupid. I want to get to the meat and the potatoes of all this ballyhoo.
Yeah, he thinks he's being used almost right out of the gate for marketing.
Right.
And he's like, don't fucking use me for marketing.
Yeah.
I will ruin your marketing.
What if we had
quick.
A giant big like expose, the writer's missing and he's in this town. We sent this guy after him. This guy's legit. And then, wow, everyone wants to buy your book. It's like, he's been translated in like 55 different languages. Yeah.
The movie's coming out next month.
But this...
How? Okay. Whatever.
I guess anytime he drops something, they already got the deals in place. They get first ask. Or first look, I should say. Speaking of movies, this movie... budget of $8 million. And it only did $8.9 million. It's barely squeaked out a profit. But now it's one of those movies you bring it up and everyone's just like, I love that movie. That movie's great. Have you seen blank? I love it. Meta, film nerd. You know what I mean? And everyone's looking for all this context and subtext and stuff inside the story and just how layered it is and stuff like that. So we'll see if we do a good job describing that.
Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So Trent goes to the bookstore. The bookstore's been ransacked a little bit by crazed Sutter Kane fans that are just not willing to wait for the new book. They're just like, we need this shit now.
Real dick move, right? Like, he goes in the bookstore, and so I thought he was just trying to play hardball. You mean the publishers couldn't give him a fucking copy?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was just like, really, man?
Just give him a copy.
They were all right there. You could just be like, can I take some of these? And they would have been like, no.
Yeah, I kind of want to see him up against. I want to see a little bit of his work.
I really wanted her to just be like, I'll get you copies. And then have her be like, Margaret, Phil,
give him a gift
one
bag
of you two,
that has it all there.
Go get all the books,
And then there could have been an In the Mouth of Madness shirt, and he kind of holds it up, and he's just like, you know what I mean?
Fucking, this is too meta. No, the mug was enough. But yeah, so he's at a bookstore. I think they just use this to show the craziness at the bookstore. And then this guy who, very obviously, has got some problems going on with his.
I was like, do you read comic books? I was like,
right now in the 90s, and
you're all oily, and like you got some like face things going on.
It's like cold sores, I guess. It looks like cold sores is the best I could describe it. And he's got thick framed glasses that are broken. Like they just watched Revenge of the Nerds and were like, yeah, we could give him that look.
I was like, Death of Superman's over there, dude.
He's just like, #1 selling graphic novel of all time. Thanks very much. I've read it. I own it. And the singles. Okay. And the black bag not opened. Okay.
Whatever, nerd.
Doomsday R.I.P. Superman. Reign of Supermen. Fucking bullshit. Mullet Superman will never be my Superman.
Hey, you fucking geek. I'm just trying to get these.
But that fucking Superboy with the jacket, fucking, I'll rail that ass all night long. They're like, whoa.
Hey, man, I'm just
trying to too crazy.
Trying to pick up this Hobbs End book.
So, like, can I get all these books, or like just beat off in my book bag or something? I'm not really sure how it works here. But and then the nerd's like, he can see you, and Trent's just like, fucking, I will shop at Barnes and Noble next time. That is why they're still in business, because fuck independent bookstores. No, I'm pretty sure they are.
Oh,
yeah. They're doing curbside. You just tell them what book you want them to throw at you. You're just like,
it's called the internet.
Yeah, you do it on the internet and tell them, and then they throw it at you at the curb.
Oh,
they literally make you get out of the car, from what I understand.
Who's trying to understand this?
I'm not trying to. Anyway. So Trent's just like, okay, buddy. Thanks for the books. He also looks like he's gonna shoplift them. The way he looks.
I thought Trent was picking these books up.
Fucking cheap.
I was like, bro. Publisher. I was like, hey, put it in your pocket. Put it in your pocket.
Yeah, just the way he was looking.
Like, don't pay for it.
Like he didn't want to be seen picking up the Sutter Canes, he just didn't want to be paying for nothing.
Don't give that fucker any money. You can download it on the internet.
He's like, fucking Kiwi discount right now.
My 5-finger his 5-finger Kiwi discount.
Yeah.
He's like, these took care of me in the motherland.
He's like, this is how I got out of there, and this is how I'll get back in there. They're just like, I don't even know what that means, or you don't have to.
Say, no, dude, I didn't come from the prison colony.
I swam from the prison colony. Then
Maybe
flew
I
here
did.
from the not prison colony. Yeah, and so he's like, okay, and then he's walking home. He sees the Hobbs End poster, because Hobbs End is the book before In the Mouth of Madness. It plays a big role in the entire story and movie.
Yeah, it's ideally where the town of all the wacky's gonna go down.
Yeah,
and he's kind of drawn to this poster, and he keeps kind of like
it's ripped.
He keeps kind of fucking with it, and it's New York, so it's that thing we just put posters and advertising everywhere. It's real
posters on top of posters on top
of posters.
Who got here last and who got here first? Who knows?
And he kind of wanders down, and he kind of looks down the alley, and man, there's about 16 burning barrels going on in this alley. I was
It's
like,
a
wow.
I don't want to say it's a very John Carpenter alleyway, but it's a very John Carpenter alleyway.
And I was like,
I think John Carpenter's only been down one alleyway, and it was the one where all the bums lived and all had fires going. Like, it was like fucking the bum Ritz, where they're just like, we all got a barrel on fire. And he was just like, fucking mental note for life. That's what a bum alley looks like. He was like, suck a dick, Spawn.
Alleys like burning barrels.
Burning barrels. This is where the barrels come to be burned.
And I
see.
I guess one of these patrons of the streets was giving this law enforcer a little too much lip because he was beating the ever-loving shit out of him. This cop was just wailing on this dude.
The cops have no love for citizens in this movie.
The cops are cops in this movie.
The cops, yeah, you're just like, yeah, this checks out. A guy spray painting on the wall, this checks out.
And Trent's like, oh, you're really giving it to that guy.
And there's like 9 bums watching, though. That's the crazy part. The bums were just like, yeah, get Jimmy. You fucking stiffed me on my bean portion last night. I smelled his extra toots. He had more beans than me.
That's the law of the bum streets, though.
Yeah.
That guy probably wasn't even a cop. He was just a bum-acutioner.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm here to beat your fucking bean-eating ass because you had too much goddamn beans. And the others were like, yeah.
From what I think, that looked like bum justice to me.
Yeah, bum justice, bum justice, bum justice.
He who has the stinky bum shall participate in bum justice.
Yeah. And he's like, shit, man, I read a scrapbook of Sutter Kane. I just wanted to spray paint the wall. I didn't know you guys were going to be smelling my motherfucking bum when I was up there.
Yeah, so if anybody...
So Trent's the bum number 10.
Trent is kind of shocked.
Yeah, he's just like, oh. I mean, I've lived in New York, but...
This is living.
I could get behind some bum justice.
This Thursday on Fox.
He's like, what type of bum justice are we talking about? Those bums or this bum? And he points to his ass. He's just like, I could get some justice down here.
That was the other double entendre we were doing, Trent. You've ruined it.
Oh. That's my way. That's my way. That's what these fingers do. They get me into everything.
So Trent's seen enough, and he kind of rightly fucks off.
Yeah. But the cop is like, hey, buddy.
You want some?
You want some? The show's not for free. Everybody's got to pay.
Listen, man. If I saw a cop just molesting a bum with a nightstick, and he stopped and turned to me and asked me if I want some, the answer is no.
The answer is I'm already gone. The answer is I didn't even look, okay? I'm in New York hearing a bum get beat by a cop. I'm going to just keep walking.
Bum justice.
Who am I going to call? Another cop?
Another
Guess what?
bum.
Guess who's going to be joining that bum? Me. Fucking, I'm going to be bummed out.
Yeah, so Trent's like, I need to go home and read some Sutter Kane.
I need to take this horrible scene out of my mind with 6 stellar novels. I was like, buddy, slow down. Don't read them all at once. They have an ill effect on some people. Also, you're going to have real fucked up dreams.
Yeah, but he looks down upon that. He said that's because reading's for pussies.
He's like, I'll show you pussies. I can read 6 goddamn books in one night.
Harry Potter's a bitch.
Harry Potter, I'll read all 8 of your fucking shits. And I'll watch the movie. You're just Star Wars with wads, you dicks.
You fucking suck.
Suck it, you motherfucks. read fucking anything I want.
Everybody's like, well, this review seems a little lopsided, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Trent's opinion.
Go with Trent. I mean, sure, I don't know if he can actually read or not, but he seems to have a good gist of the plot and overall development of characters.
So Trent's kind of like, hey, man, this is pretty fucking good. Because he gets a jingle from Jackson, right?
No, Bernie.
Yeah, that's right.
The guy's on the case. He's like, I don't know, this is something... He's like, it's your typical scare him and bag him shit, but...
something real spooky about this
He's
one.
like, there's something about the way he writes. He's like, oh, no. I'm not a Sutter Kane fan.
And it's kind of one of the things...
Yet.
They reference it as the throwaway line for it a couple of times of like, it's your typical slime monsters coming to steal the babies or whatever. Just humans turning into monsters.
Have you ever seen Creature of the Black Lagoon?
He downplays it multiple times this way throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, I'm not a believer. This is just pop bullshit.
Yeah. This is your pop horror trash.
Yeah. So after that, he is this the part where he nods off?
Yeah, he nods off halfway through Hobbs End, which is the 6th book.
The final.
Fucking loser. Couldn't even fucking read 6 books in one night without nodding off. What a dick, Trent. I want that to be Trent's podcast review. He's like, well, I couldn't finish the 6th book tonight, guys, so it's going to be 5 out of... Yeah, it sucks. So 5 out of 6 stars from me. All right, Trent will be back next week with, Stephen King's fucking... What's that one with the cowboys and the old shit? Matthew McConaughey was in the movie. It's fine. You'll find out. Dark Tower. That's
the Lincoln Lawyer?
No, Dark Tower. I'm going to read all the Dark Towers. I'll tell you how much that fucking sucks.
So he nods off, and he's like, oh, man, I should probably just go to bed. And he looks over, and it's a fucking cop that loved
No.
No?
We're back in the alleyway.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's... Because this is the part I don't like.
This is layers. This might be the first time I've seen this done.
It was the first time I've seen it done, and I've never liked it since. I do not like dream inside dreams. I've never had a dream inside of a dream. I've never heard of anyone having a dream inside of a dream.
Have you truly dreamed then?
I dream every goddamn night, Kevin.
Inception, that's all that movie was.
Yeah. Well, we're not covering Inception on this podcast right now. Otherwise, there'd be some strong opinions said from both of us. But I do not like Dream Inside of Dreams. Now, as a younger viewer of this movie...
It blew your fucking mind.
I did like it, yes. But rewatching it, I was like, it's fine. But...
Okay, point.
I don't like that ever
Point,
again.
Counterpoint.
Okay.
It works in this movie for what this movie's trying to achieve.
For sure.
The rules that this movie is beginning to set is very fair. I agree. I'm not a fan of this because it can be lazy, but the world that is being created for this narrative, perfectly fine. It does.
Yeah. No, I'll give you that for sure.
It fits within the rules of this world, bar none. I think that I was not offended. I did wrinkle my nose for a second until I realized, you know what? This movie gets to do that.
Yeah.
So when he does, he's back in
He's back in the alleyway.
the final fight, bum beat down alley.
He touches the poster again.
Same, yep.
He goes, he sees the bum getting bumtastic with the cop. We see the spray paint. It says, I can see. And it's starting to U. And you're like, okay, so now we have more spray paint that wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It says mind's eye. Perhaps someone is viewing upon Trent.
Right now. It's us, by the way, in case you were wondering, but whatever. And so the cop's face is revealed, and it's real fucked up.
It looks like a zombie.
It looks
like a ghoulish, little ghoulish.
Yeah, it looks ghoulish. He's got the double iris thing going on. And then he's just like, you want somebody? He asks again. He's very considerate. And Trent's like, no, he backs out again. But now we have a bunch of axe-wielding people behind him, including the agent that we already saw, get by the cops.
Those were guns, everyone.
Those were guns. You couldn't see the handguns. Kevin could, but you couldn't. And so the agent's like, do you read Sutter Kane? He's like, then you already know he can see you. He sees you. And just starts telling him the stuff. And he's like, why is this happening? He's just like, you know why. And then everyone starts fucking hacking the agent.
Mm-hmm. Message delivered.
Yeah, and then Trent wakes up.
He's like, I usually don't have dreams about dudes getting hacked to pieces. Thanks, Sutter Kane.
Yeah, thanks, Sutter Kane. Fucking 5.5 books in one night. This is what you do to my sleep, you bastard.
Reading still for pussies.
And then he looks over, and there's the cop on his couch, just chilling next to him.
Yeah.
Like nonchalant, like, hey man, you get a good 5 because I'm about to ruin your 6. And he's just like, ah! And he wakes up again.
So, and then that's the thing. That's where I kind of let it go, and I like it, because you're just like, well, now what level of layer are we in here right now?
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, you're questioning everything. Am I still in some sort of dream? That's usually what you would set as a precedence of like, now viewer, what level of Trent's consciousness are we in? Is he in control of anything?
Because you can't trust it now.
Yes.
You now know
everything you see
could be something else.
At any moment.
Exactly.
Or it lets you think, hard alpha Trent that thinks reading's for pussies, maybe the books are taking an effect on him, because he did pile through the whole series in one sitting.
He did give it a compliment when Bernie called him to see if he was fucking doing the job or not.
He gave the book its respect, and he was like, hey man, this shit is it's the way he writes, the way he puts things together.
The way he writes. Maybe it's the descriptions. I like how he talked about the shoes and how they clapped on the
little
wood floor.
Details like that, kind of like build that in there. And then you kind of think as a viewer, I think maybe did Trent just take a whiff of the Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
Is he coming around?
Yeah. I mean, sure, he put a little tequila in it, but, that's just Trent's way. So then Trent's looking at the covers, and he starts to notice these very distinct, sharp red lines. And he's like, oh, publisher should have given me these books because I'm going to fuck up these covers. He rips the cover off unremorsefully. Any book reader out there is probably just cringing watching him just tear the cover off these books like he's about to donate them to a fucking secondhand bookstore. Tears the covers off, pulls out some scissors, just starts going to town. And then there it is. Vermont, I think.
Yeah, there's basically a map hidden inside the covers. He takes the scissors, he trims it up, and then he puts it all together, and he looks at it, he's like, gotcha, motherfucker. And I'm like, you're Bruce Wayne. You're literally Bruce Wayne. You're Bruce Wayne's dad or something.
Yeah, I remember thinking that was so fucking awesome.
No, that blew my mind when I saw it back in the day. I was like, dude, this guy's the most legit motherfucker. He's going to find Sutter K and kick him in the dick. That's all I know.
Find him, kick him in the dick, and be like, what now? Fucking finish that 7th book, motherfucker. I need to know. And Trent review.
And that's the best thing, right? Because it just it does a bunch of things. It kind of creates this other layer of mystery. It puts Trent over as a badass still because he's like, I'm not shook.
Yeah, he got back control of himself.
Yeah, he's a very strong protagonist as, man, I was like, dude, spooky dreams and kind of, it kind of like weakens Sutter Kane. He's still, just a novelist. Yeah. Like, who cares? Because Trent's going to go in there because he's cracking the Omega Code here.
And I'd like to say, so, for me personally, and this is true of when I originally watched it, the beginning, I find it creepy as fuck. I really do. It is so creepy seeing all this shit, especially with the double wake up, the way the cop looks, the double iris thing. It's very creepy to me. There does get to a point where it stops being creepy and becomes a little too, I don't know, waka waka or whatever. Like, we're not there yet. But there is a point where I stop being afraid of what's happening in the movie. And I'll probably, I'll touch on it when we reach that. But I just want to say, like, right now, this shit is amazing. Like, I do find, like, even rewatching, I was like, this shit's very cool. We do have some pacing problems in this movie that could be worked on. But overall, really good.
I think I can see that. I think like it tries to do a bunch of things, right? It's trying to introduce you to like what you know as the real world, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard-working blue-collar guy just out there, investigating.
Busting crooks.
Yeah, just kind of just exposing people, right? And he's going to expose this guy because all this dude does is tell spooky stories, and that ain't shit to him, right?
Yeah.
And he's like you said, he's always looking to close this case, right?
He's always looking for Johnny Con.
And so now he's got this big challenge, and everybody's just eating this shit up, and he's like, I think a little bit he kind of wants to shut it down and be like, this guy's not the boogeyman you think he is.
Oh, for sure.
So he has that little challenge to himself, and he kind of carries it very well because he's a little bit pompous and cocksure. So you're kind of like, all right, let's see if you're up to the next round of when we really move into it. So I believe this part he doubles back and he goes to the publisher and he
brings the map.
He brings the map and he's like, "Where's this?" And and the chick's like, Styles is like, "Bro, this isn't on a map. What are you talking about? This doesn't exist." She's like, "This is in the book, numbnuts."
Yeah.
And Jackson.
Well, and he lays it out his theory. He's just like, "Oh, you send him away. You hire me to this whole scavenger hunt, and then you set up this town, and there he is, and it's all part of the publicity.
You're acting.
Here's Hobbs in. oh, go here. Now you can buy the new book. It's
Yeah.
conveniently here. And,
Yeah,
sign some pictures.
He's thinking they're gonna try to kick off some like spooky Disneyland shit, and they're gonna use his credibility. He's gonna come off like a chump, and he's just helped this $1 million company make more. So he's like, I don't know, and they're just like, no, dude, it's not about that. We're serious. We don't know where this motherfucker is. Are you gonna close it or not? And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's ride.
Yeah, he's like, it's not on any new maps, but I'll find it on an old map.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, and so that's where it turns into, I think he just likes that challenge, right?
Yeah.
He wants to be that guy to dunk on this dude and been like, you know what?
sure.
No matter what you are at the end of the day, I checked you. And Jackson's like, great idea. I'm going to send Styles with you.
And he's like, ooh, yeah.
And yeah, he's thinking, hey, man, pickle, tickle. And she's just like, I'm all business, and you know nothing about this dude. You know nothing about his work, and she's fluent in it because, she that's her job. That's her life.
She's the editor.
This dude makes all the money, and she makes sure it fucking keeps flowing in, and this dude's happy. So she probably knows him the best.
Outside of his agent, who's now dead.
Correct.
So, off they go on a road trip.
Nothing better than a road trip movie.
I will say all of their driving scenes bothered me immensely because the eyes are never on the road, Kevin. I was like, you're going to kill somebody. Get those eyes on the road. He was just like reading maps, looking at her. Just like, he took his eyes off the road for like 25 minutes. I was like, listen, I know you're being towed. Fucking sell me that you're behind the wheel, though.
I didn't mind that. I
did immensely.
I liked, because to me, where you're looking at like basically the technical physical part, I felt like that was them building, right? They're trying to build a rapport, and then they're going to transition together through this darkness, right? Because the roads are completely dark. You barely see the fucking lines in the road.
Well, let's talk about during the day, first of all.
Oh, well.
They're just driving through cornfields and shit, and he's just like... like he never looks at the fucking front of the car.
Let's see, dude.
Bothered
You've
me
driven on roads like that.
immensely.
There ain't shit out there.
Yeah, but still, I don't just sit there and like never look.
I've seen you drive. You do worse.
Fuck you.
You're shooting
No,
the bird.
I
You're
don't.
playing with the radio.
Okay, I shoot the bird. I don't play with the radio.
You're Googling and shit.
I don't know what this man's talking about. I don't endanger my passengers' lives, Kevin. So fuck you. You drive next time, you dick. Anyway, that part bothered me. But yes, they start to talk. They build a rapport. He's still very interested in Styles, and then it's her turn to drive, and it's dark. It's nighttime, and we get to our first. I remember this as a kid being like, "This is weird. I don't know what we're doing here." And she sees this kid, denim out, riding a bike.
He's wearing
got the playing cards on the
Canadian tuxedo. He's got playing cards on the spokes of his
tuxedo. That's what we're calling it.
That's what that's called. Is when they're wearing all denim. You didn't know that?
No.
Give my brothers and sisters from the north give a holler.
They're just like, fuck you. That's fucking hurtful.
No,
That's
I've
fucking hurtful,
literally had Canadians tell me that.
That's our tuxedo. Yeah, seems about right from what I know. Anyway, yeah.
Which was nothing.
And this kid, and so she just drives by this kid that's just of my knowledge of Canada. Okay, it seems to fit my knowledge of Canada. Not that I know that it was a Canadian tuxedo. Okay,
Canadian's worst driver. Great show.
Okay, do we want to plug anything else on this fucking episode? Jesus, the kid, he's pedaling like his fucking life just depends on it.
He's pedaling like he's trying to get out of somewhere quickly.
Yeah. He's in the middle of the road, and Styles just drives past him. Just drives past him.
They share a look.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, fuck, man. And she's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
He looks really, really bummed out.
Yeah. And she just keeps driving. And then they drive some more. The road gets real dark, little strange, little CG effect on there. And then she sees another person on a bike. I'm going to put it this way. Another person on a bike wearing all denim. And she's like, isn't that the same? What's with this long white hair? And as she drives by, it's the kid. He's aged. He's an old man now. And she's like, what the fuck?
But he still looks all pitiful.
Yeah, he looks all pitiful. He's still pedaling like his fucking, like, life depends on it. And I forget what has happened on the third one. The third one, she
hits him with
she
a
just
fucking
hits
car.
him. Yeah. Well, I can't remember if it was like she sees him on the side again, or if he's just like in front of her.
Like she's just like tripping balls, right? She's looking left, looking right. She's like,
she's
what
freaking
the hell?
out. It's super fucking dark. All of a sudden, she just hits this kid.
Hits him pretty good
This
too.
old man kid. Yeah, hits him real good.
Yeah, the old kid goes flying and he just gets laid out. And Trent wakes up like, man, did we just hit an old man kid?
Did we hit an old man kid?
And she's kind of in disbelief. She's like, I don't know.
Because I got some bum justice for him.
I don't know. Maybe, yes, possibly. He's right there. And Trent's like, get a blanket. We can get him in the car. Take him to the hospital.
He's like,
but then
get
he's
a
like,
blanket
but then
and
he's
a
like,
pillow.
don't touch him. Like, he's
Don't
like,
touch
hold
him.
on.
Don't touch him.
And I was like, oh, man, look at him, you know, checking out. And then the old kid wakes up and he starts, and then they double back. They take their eyes off him for a second.
Well, no, first he says, he won't let me leave.
Yeah.
In his real pitiful voice. And then she looks, and then all of a sudden he's just standing up. His bike's fixed. He gives
out.
this like sinister look.
That's his hell,
He's
Dustin,
out.
is to repeat this over and over.
I understood that, Kevin.
And over.
But he gave a sinister look.
No.
And then the guy, and then Trent's just like, well, I guess
He's fine, or what the
guess
fuck?
he's you just fucking let him ride away like that, like.
Well, he was just like,
The
yeah, I
fuck?
guess he's all right. And then she was just like,
He's like, this pillow's for me now.
She's like-
Trent's gonna take a nap.
she's like, you're driving now. Fuck this.
Yeah. But no, he doesn't drive though.
No. Doesn't he?
No, he doesn't drive there. He goes back to sleep. And it's not until so she's driving again, the road completely disappears.
Yeah,
She looks out.
Does the little neon line things.
Well, no, yeah, it does that too, but she looks out and they're just in clouds.
Oh, that part's sick.
Yeah. And she's just like, whoa, what the fuck? And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden they're going through this bridge. It's a super long bridge. You can kind of see some strangeness going outside with the cracks of the bridge wood paneling. And then, boom, they come out and it's just daytime.
Yeah.
They're just on the other end and she's just like, what the fuck?
I think she does a great job here where she just
Yeah.
visually sells it all with her expression and she looks exhausted. And I really believe that she'd just seen some wacky shit that she could not decipher.
Yeah.
But she was too scared and just wanted just to keep going through. And then once she stops the car, Trent wakes up. He's like, "Oh, we there?" He's like,
He's like,
"Damn,
I slept all the way through the night?
it's daytime now. Like, where am I?" He's like, "Did you change my radio station?" She's like, and then she's just like,
Fucking where's my cool mix?
she just opens the door and she's like, "You're driving now."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Fucking cool beans, we found it." And she's like, "Yeah." Like, she's not all frantic.
Well, he's all cocky about it because he's like, oh, not a real place, huh? And like looks at the Hobbs Inn sign. He's
No,
just
yeah,
like,
this is another notch in his belt, where
Yeah.
he's just like, boom, proved it again. I'm fucking Bruce Wayne.
But she's freaking the fuck out.
But she is and she's not, and that's
Yeah.
what I super liked. She wasn't frantic. She wasn't weak. She wasn't just, you should have saw what I saw, just pulling on his
Yeah.
arm.
No, she's more
God.
like, because she kind of knows.
It's like she's trying to rationalize it to herself,
Yeah.
right? She's
Well,
like,
and she knows Sutter Kane's work.
She knows
so
the
she's
material.
just like, oh shit.
have I seen this before? Is this really his books? Or is this
Yeah.
happening? And then when they snap, she's like, well, maybe this is. It's sort of like for a moment, she's on the ledge of insanity, but then she's like, it's daytime now, and this is a town, and this looks normal.
Yeah, and was I just hallucinating? Was I just so tired from driving late at night that I
It
was
happens.
hallucinating? So
And once they get into the town, they start pulling up, and you start seeing like little shops and
yeah,
quote unquote the littlest
Americana.
sleepy town you've ever seen, right? I wouldn't even say America. I've been in town. I've never seen anything quite like this. This has a Eastern Europe, like real East Coast style to it, like New England-ish.
It's very New
kinda.
England.
Yeah. And no ghost town. No one anywhere. They pull over. They start looking around. Styles, she turns and she sees this dog just running, and she's like, what?
running for its fucking life.
This dog-
I love this part.
The dog turns the corner, and she's like, all right, dog. And then she's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost a dozen kids just turn the corner, and they're just chasing the shit out of this dog.
Like 5 to 6, like
And it's more of like,
young.
just they're gonna get that dog and kill it.
They're
That's all.
going to, they're gonna kill that. They're gonna do something to that fucking dog.
You know, they're gonna give that to
And
whatever.
it's not gonna be good.
Yeah, they're gonna sacrifice that dog to whatever they believe in. Sutter Kane.
Sutter Kane, we bring you Bimbo the dog. Fucking accept our gifts.
And Trent's like,
Dark
man,
Lord.
ain't nobody around here. Right, Styles? And Styles is like, what?
Did you see those kids?
And he's like, I ain't seen shit.
Did you see that dog?
He's
no,
like,
I got allergies. I don't like dogs.
he's like, no. I was like, hold on, let's go over this way. There's like an inn over here.
Yeah, they just drive, and he's just like, oh, look at that. How'd you know that was here? She was like, because it's in the books. And she starts piecing it together and trying to tell him, like, it's in the books.
And he's like, He's very dismissive.
He's like, oh, yeah, but if it was really the books, then in this cleared out greenhouse, we'd see a fucking, slithery, slimy creature or whatever.
Mm.
And she's just like, And then they go in to the hotel, and he looks at this picture, and it's got this man and a woman, and they're just looking. They look, peaceful in a painting.
Yeah, the painting's like a little lakeside, almost pseudo picnic type.
It's very
very calming.
I don't know. I don't know the art style off the top of my head.
It's not like oil painting, kind of a little bit of watercolor.
Yeah, it's like an oil painting, but it's more like I forget the technique. It's more like it's done with all dots in a way. So it's like the technique is in the layering of the the dots on a canvas.
Basically, cross your eyes, you can see the boat.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, not really. But so they ring the bell, and then everyone's favorite grandma
like,
from
fucking service sucks around here. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He's like, where's that fucking old lady from Happy Gilmore? Get her out here.
It's Miss Pickman, dude.
Yeah, it's Miss Pickman, but it's also the grandma from Happy Gilmore. That's what I saw, and I was like, oh, hey, grandma, how you doing?
There's another line that they have later on in the movie, just maybe a hearty chuckle. I probably wasn't supposed to laugh, but
probably not. But especially towards the later half where the comedy doesn't come. But
it really wasn't funny as in, haha, funny. It was more like, I felt that. I would have said the same thing.
Well, and then Styles starts looking at the picture, and now the couple is turned away.
Mm-hmm.
They're not facing her. They looked away. And then Miss Pickman comes out, and...
oh, how can I help you?
Yeah. She's just like, oh, let me get your... How'd you find... and he's just like, oh, Sutter Kane? We're here for Sutter Kane? She's like, I don't know anyone by that name. Only my dark lord, Sutter Kane.
Hey, you know that Fruit Loop that writes all the books that the kids love?
Listen, he doesn't write any books I read. Just his fucking Sunday service. Yeah, fucking dark lord.
Yeah,
but
old lady's like, what?
Yeah, she's like, I don't care.
I don't know what the internet
she's like,
is.
read it late. Fucking fuck books. Read movies. They're like, what? And meanwhile, Styles is tripping over this painting because it's moved a third time when she blinked. And she's just like...
Styles needs to sit down.
Yeah.
She's having a moment.
She's having a fucking moment. So they're up in the hotel, and he's just like... We kind of jump forward in their conversation, okay? She's already kind of told him, like, hey, shit's...
What she experienced.
Yeah, what she experienced. And he's just like, fucking... If this town was really Sutter Kane, then out this window would be a fucking monolith, fucking church with black onion fucking top things. And he's like, look, fucking barn. And she's just like, you didn't read the book very well, you dumb fucking slag. He's like, because it's out this window. And then, boom, there it is, out that window. And he's just like, I think I need a cigarette.
So I really like this part.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, Batman fucked up. He needed Catwoman to kind of go, hey, man, pay attention.
And you're like, damn, dude, you might be a little too cocky here, and you are getting checked. And it's getting a little chinks in his armor, right? He's just like, oh shit, maybe I'm not that motherfucker that runs this shit. I won't tell them that. No, you're good, Trent. You stay sure.
You're good, Trent. You're good. Sure, there's 2 beds in this room, but we can push them together and have a wild night.
Hey man, I would have pitched that to her a couple of times.
So you want to push these beds together and like thumb wrestle with her vagina and penis?
And I also remember where I loved her. She was in Fright Night 2, I think, and I was like,
Fright Night 2.
The original Fright Night is the...
No, the remake with Colin Firth. Farrell. No.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell.
Never saw it.
The Bullseye. That guy.
I saw it. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I was like, you saw it. Don't fucking lie to these people. Anyway, so yeah, they're just like, okay, let's go head to that church, because, yeah, we need to see what's going on there.
Styles isn't feeling any of this. She kind of already has the premonitions of what's going to happen. That stuff kind of pops up throughout their adventure in Hobbs. Like, you kind of get these, like, smash cuts of all this stuff. Like,
yeah, but not yet.
Not yet, but she starts getting a little uneasy, right? So she's like, hey, man, you're kind of not listening to it. I'm really in tune to what's going on right now.
He's very much like, whatever.
Whatever.
Like, this is still, I'm still looking for the con.
That's all,
okay?
yeah.
You guys have done an impressive job.
Yeah.
He feels that everyone in the fucking town is an actor.
He's really he's real flippant with it all, too. He's just kind of like, like he's almost playing along.
Sure. Fucking, she's gonna kill her husband? I don't fucking think so.
Mm-hmm.
And, so they go to the, fucking, like, the anti-church, is I'm gonna call it from now on.
Well, Miss Pickman, the thing is, in the books, she chops up her husband with an axe to, like, into coleslaw and shit. Like, she just blends this motherfucker up. And then you kind of see this old feeble lady, you're like, there's no way. Like, what?
Yeah.
And so he's playing off of that. He's like, in no world is that happening.
That's Happy Gilmore's grandma. She ain't hacking nothing, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right? She's gonna lose her house.
So when you get to this church, you see all this.
Kevin's hating that joke, by the way.
I see all this idea, all this like artwork and all this religion epitaphs and stuff everywhere, and he's kind of like, all right. And then you kind of really the first time you see some of the crosses. A lot of them are upside down. It's not a real big deal on it.
No. They don't get into the church.
Yeah, it's all on the outside though, because he stems back and he starts.
You forgot
looking
though
at
when
it.
they get out. Okay. He's just like full speed ahead.
Yeah, that's what he's experienced. Styles is in her own world dealing with some other shit.
Styles is still back there. A ball hits her, and this little fucking girl, the creepiest little girl in 1995, is just like, "Give us the ball!" And I was just like, "Oh my god, give her the ball! She's gonna steal your wallet and your leg, and I don't know, a lot of stuff." And then the dog shows up, and the dog's missing a leg. They took the leg, and now. Isn't she fucked up in the face in this one?
So all the kids look... I really, really... Like, there's like this minimalist makeup on their face in a way, but it looks great. Like, it's really what the biggest takeaway is what they do with their lips. Yeah. And they kind of give the kid these all jagged teeth and fangs, and their eyes are kind of sunken in a little bit. But it's not crazy makeup, but it's just so little, and it looks really... It looked awesome. I thought they looked great.
I thought it looked good on the people, for sure.
Yeah, I thought the kids... I say especially the kids, because they push in on her, and then she's like, give us the bull.
And she's like, what are you doing? She's like, we're playing. Do you want to be our mommy? She's like, no. God, fuck no. I don't want kids. And then she leaves, and the kids are just like... She just leaves the kids... Like, this little demon fucking kid's looking at her. She's like, I got places to be. I don't got time for this shit. See you later, demon baby kids. And then they start looking at the, the church.
The kid says one of the best lines in the movie is "Mom's Day. You want to be our mom?" And you're just kind of like, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And then you're terrifying me. And the thing is,
I mean, I said that basically. But.
Little spooky kids are stupid as fuck. They're stupid. Punch them in the fucking face. These kids are just like...
But a gang of little spooky kids?
Well, it's like the whole Children of the Corn. I think that shit's stupid.
Yeah, these kids took a
They have the
dog's
powers
leg off.
and they have... But that's the thing. Anytime there's a little kid in a horror movie, it's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. I don't think it's scary. I don't think little white ghost and she's wearing all white, ooh, spooky, and then her face snaps and it turns. It's stupid. These kids look great. And you're kind of like, they got me beat on the numbers. Was the dog an example? They could shred me. I don't know. Their fucking around average looks to be at a really low
I don't know if I can punt all their heads off.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm killing like 5 of them right off the bat.
Eaten.
Like, I'm hitting one with a Judas effect in the face. I'm power bombing one through the hood of the car.
Judas effect. I'm out. My energy, my fucking charge bar is empty. I gotta go for the boot.
I know one's gonna go shred my Achilles with those little fangs.
Oh, for sure.
And then I'm snapping another one's neck. I'm breaking one over my knee, but the other one's on my throat. You know what I mean? They're gonna swarm.
That's what I'm thinking. Like the 7th one is definitely getting your neck, and then you're fucked. Because then it's a feeding frenzy.
If you're making it out, you're fucked up. If you're making it out,
oh, for sure.
For sure, they're all dead. I'm going there and I'm stomping them all out.
Yeah, but you might bleed out.
You might.
And there's no hospital in this town.
I'll just take her little pink coat, shred it, and wrap it around my head and just bandage myself up.
Tourniquet everywhere. Fucking take a lot of blood to making all these tourniquets.
Point of the story is, for little spooky air quotes kids, I liked them. I liked their look.
Yeah, they had a good look. So they're at the church. The church won't open its doors. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of cars, or a bunch of old country boy trucks drive up. And Styles is like, we gotta go. They have guns. And he's like, okay. And so they start heading back to the car, but they stay there. And then all these country boys, plus the guy who's in the painting of Ghostbusters 2 comes out. And he's like, Sutter Kane! Give me back my boy! Give me Johnny! And then the church door opens, and there's little Johnny. And then it closes. And then it opens. And then it closes. And then it opens. And then it closes. And then it opens. And he's just like, stop fucking with me, Kane! And then there's Sutter Kane. And he's dressed like a novelist for sure. So, at least what everyone thought one looked like in the 90s. Black turtleneck, all black. Looking pretty BA, if I do say so myself.
It's the first time you see him in the movie.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot you got to see him here.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a great reveal. I mean, the door thing got annoying really quick. I was like, all right, 3's good, guys. Like, 3 and then the real reveal. Come on.
Yeah, they're at the, the black church or whatever.
Yeah.
And what was that trying to do, I wonder? Like, is he just trying to bait him with the children? Or is he, like... Because if you think about it...
Yeah, because we don't really have a sense of this town. And all the kids we met are fucked up. So you're just kind of like...
Right. But this one wasn't fucked up. Was he trying to make them fucked up? But if he wanted to, couldn't he just do it with the fucking typewriter?
Yeah.
So...
It's not... Honestly, it's not a strong scene at all. Because then all these guys... Then he... Like, Sutter Kane doesn't say shit. And he calls forth a bunch of Doberman pinchers. And...
that chases them boys out of town.
Chases them out hard. 3 of them don't make it. And they are left for dead. No one shoots a shot at these fucking dogs.
He shoots off one, but it kind of just goes flying. And I was like,
I was like, what do you
want to get out of there?
I was like, are you guys all farmers? Like, dude, if you know how to use these things.
It's a real pitchforks and torches kind of mentality rushing upon him. So you're kind of like... Are these characters cognizant of what Sutter Kane's doing and they want to force him out? Or are they just looking for the boy? Is this guy a pedo? Like, what? You don't really know what the fuck's going on in the sense of what exactly. And this is the part where it's kind of a little bit of a speed bump and I could be missing something. But you find out literally shortly that Sutter Kane, everything he's writing in the town is transpiring. Yeah. And for this scene, I just didn't understand...
It's almost like he just wanted to reveal himself.
Is he just toying with them?
That's the thing is like...
Is this a power move?
I'd say it's more of a power move. Well, I just think it's more of how he wanted to present himself to be revealed to Trent and Styles. That was it. It's a show he's putting on for them. And the other thing it's doing is it's syncing up with what Styles knows that happens in the books. She knows that this happens... because she's read some chapters from In the Mouth of Madness. So she knows that they're going to show up with guns and be like, give us back the kid. So it's honestly not a very good scene. And especially when you see the dogs, because you're just like, okay, like you see the dogs for 2 seconds and they're just kind of chewing the normal places trained attack dogs chew. Yeah. The arm, the ankle,
right.
the other arm.
It's not graphic. It's just kind of like, hey, look at these beautiful dogs. Just tear these guys down.
For a movie that's kind of trying to be pretty graphic, it was just like... Maybe you should have cut
That's
through
the thing.
this.
I don't really think
this
movie is very graphic.
It's not. But at times
there's really
wants to be.
There's little to no gore.
Yeah.
There's scenes where gore could just be like totally over the top, and they don't show it. They don't pull it away. There's very little blood. It's a lot like there's a part where a guy blows his head off. You see like a blood trail down his hand. Yeah. You don't see cherry pie on the wall. You don't see anything. There's a lot, like, anytime someone was hit by the car, there was no blood, there was no, you know what I mean?
It's because that was his hell.
They're very subtle about just the graphic nature of everything.
Yeah, no, that's true, because I do remember that when I was watching it, because I'll be honest, this was probably one of the first horror movies I ever saw, like, legit first horror movies I ever saw, and I was just like... Because growing up, my parents were just like, no, like, they didn't fuck around with horror, so I didn't fuck around with horror. Yeah. Like, it was like, you know, oh, you picked a horror movie from Blockbuster? Nope. Dude. Put it back. Like, not happening. So.
When I was younger, I spent, like, a lot of summers with my cousins, and she loved horror movies, so we would just be she's watching over us and stuff. We're quote unquote babysitted, so we're watching horror movies.
Yeah.
Like that's all we did. Her boyfriend loved it. We all would like, and we were like, cool. We get to see horror movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're loving it. So that's where all that like admiration for it came.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, but for me though, it was just like when I saw this, I was like, oh, like this is more creepy. Like I wasn't just expecting buckets of blood and gore and everything. Like that was what horror was built up to me. So when I saw this, I was just like, oh, this is different, you know? And it's everything after this church scene that kind of, I'll be honest, this is where it starts to lose me. Like there's still some good stuff because then we go back. They're in the hotel room. Mrs. Pickman, like he talks to Mrs. Pickman. The pictures moved again. He talks to Mrs. Pickman. And he's like, "Oh, you look like you've been up all night," because she's got the red eyes, you know, that the bookstore guy had, and she's just, you know, oh no, and I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. That's they go back to the hotel and.
Well, Trent's not believing it, right? Trent believes this is all a front. He thinks they're actors. He's like, I can't believe that this is the lengths that this would go. This guy's not even talking to us. Like, he's just putting on this show. So this is stupid. And then...
And she's just like...
Styles is like, nah, man, this is the real deal. I'm feeling it. This is in the books. I don't know why you can't see this.
Well, and she tells him, she's like, you're half right.
Right.
She's like, we did send him away for promotional, but he never arrived. Like, he didn't go to where we sent him. So she was like, it started as that, but it turned into this. This is happening in the books. Right. And I know because I read some of In the Mouth of Madness. Right. I read the chapters he sent. She's like, that's why I'm so freaked out, basically. And then she tries to kiss him, and he's just like, whoa, I'm not into fucking crazy, desperate kisses. Like, fucking, no. So he leaves the room. He's like, all right, I'm going to go talk to Mrs. Pickman. And then, boom, Styles, it all played how she needed. She just fucking grabs the car keys. And then he starts talking to Miss Pickman. He's just like, oh, you've been up all night or something, lady? What's going on? And I love this scene. This scene stayed with me forever. Like, he hears, like, this kind of moaning sound and, like, the...
Little rustle.
And he's just like, what's going on back there? But then Styles runs down and he's like, Styles?
Like, see you later, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's about to look over and you're like, what was he going to look at? And the camera shows us and it's just this naked old man handcuffed to her ankle. And
he like, doesn't look very stoked.
He does not. He's just like, hey,
this is my hell.
This ain't what I signed up for when you said naked and handcuffed, okay?
Yeah, she's going to turn him into that cabbage.
Yeah. Coleslaw cabbage. She's making it. Extra portions.
He's taking it.
He's taking it. He's not looking forward to it. But she's like, shush, you old fuck. So he runs after Styles. Styles is taking the car. She's flown the coupe. He's fucked. So he goes and gets a drink at the bar.
Yeah, man. He's just like, fuck this.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she goes back to the church. Door opens instantly for her. Mm-hmm. She starts looking around. The one thing I will say is, so when she gets to that creepy wall and she's just touching it, I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, that's sticky.
The door?
No, the wall leading to the door.
Oh, yeah.
And then she comes around, she like does a U basically, and she comes around to the other side and she's like, oh, that's sticky. I was like, yes, it's still sticky. Why are you touching a sticky wall? Sticky once means sticky all, okay? Come on. That's what happens to the wall. It all rhymes. All right? But then she hears the typewriter.
She opens the door and there's nothing there but a typewriter.
Yeah. But then she hears it again.
She walks away, stops, looks over her shoulder. He's in there, cutting her rug.
Cutting it, writing it. He's like, I'm almost done. She's like, Sutter, what's going on?
He's like, I remember you.
He's like, you can edit it while you live it. You're going to live the editing.
Well, do you see the door in this scene? The chain door? The Silent Hill? The room door?
No. Not in this scene, no. But he starts talking about the old ones, and he's just like, like, you'll see he's like, I've cleared the path for the old ones to come back. He's got to introduce enough basically crazy to break down the walls of all the other shit, and the old ones can come back and feast and die.
Yeah, because I believe it's on the car ride to Hobbs is Styles is kind of like, you're questioning reality, right? Is this reality a real reality, or is this something different, right? Is this like a dream for something else? Is this our reality? Are we in the book? So the characters are constantly kind of playing that game of like, what version of reality are we experiencing?
Yeah.
We got Trevor over here, and
No, Trent.
Trent? I'm sorry. Where did I get Trevor from?
I don't fucking know.
Who knows? And he's constantly he's in our world as the viewer, right? Mm-hmm. So he's us going through this. Where you think Styles would be the same, but she's drunk the Kool-Aid. So she's just like, no, there's something more. I've experienced, I've seen it, I've lived it. I have the writings. So she's trying to make her reality out of that sense, right?
Yeah.
And then she has this our fucking little soothsayer guy here that's trying to bring the old gods back. And he's like, yeah.
Have you read Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah, and then she's just
is it Poe? No, which one is it? H.P. Lovecraft. He was a racist, but fucking these old gods are spooky as shit.
Yeah, there's little nods to like Cthulhu and stuff like that in here, and then that's
they straight up show him. I was just like, there he is.
Yeah,
knew you were here somewhere.
And it's all of that kind of like, oh no, where's your sanity at? It's gonna break you down. It's gonna turn you out.
And then he slams her face into the book, kinda.
Yeah.
And this bright ass fucking light illuminates. Mm-hmm. And then she has blood running down her eyes.
She sees all the smash cut visions and stuff. Yeah. Like little premonitions, and you're kind of...
Which I appreciated this because it usually when you do a smash cut of quick scenes and it's from the movie, I'm like, why would they have that perspective? Mm-hmm. They weren't, how would they see that perspective when they're on the other side of that door or whatever? I usually hate that shit. It works for the same reason we talked about with the dream within the dream, because it matches the story.
Right.
So I actually really appreciated seeing it done this way, and that they didn't use the different scenes, and that we saw everything in the smash cut later on.
And it plays on, it really kind of lets you know why it's doing it later. Especially towards the finale. And yeah, like if it... And I think a lot of storytelling and a lot of other narratives try to mimic this, and I don't think they understand why it's being done. So they want to do it because it looks cool. You get to get the audience of being like, ooh, here comes some spooky. When's it gonna drop? You don't know, but do you? I showed you, but do you? And you're like, no, dude. These movies working in tiers. Yeah. And it's letting you see certain tiers at a certain amount of time, and you have one character that's trying to navigate it, and you have one character that's already kind of committed to one, and you have another, your third main character is orchestrating them, right?
Yeah.
So I think when you see it in other movies, it's just pitiful, and it sucks, and it's stupid, and
well,
it doesn't work.
Because they're not understanding the why; they're just understanding the visual, and so they're like, well, I can copy the visual, that's easy. But they don't understand what that visual is representing, and I think that's the biggest problem. It's like, it's easy to copy the visuals. It's hard to copy the meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
And make it relate to your story. But so she's all in. She's full on in the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And she starts kissing him, and then
she has the bloody the eyes of blood.
And then she starts kissing him and running her fingers through his hair.
Yeah,
which is
we're gonna see some hot action.
Yeah, well, it's a little red demon on the back of his head, and you're just like, oh, fucking gross.
And then you throw up.
Because she's just like,
what would have been
putting
better?
Her finger in his mouth and
she doesn't, but I wish she did.
Yeah, she came close.
Like if she would have done that, and they would have pushed in on the mouth with the fingers in it, and just saliva, I would have been like, this is gross.
This is disgusting. I didn't need any gore because here it is.
But I can't stop staring.
Can't stop staring. Fucking go deeper.
I wish a little...
Ew, you're poking his brain. Stop it.
Yeah.
But go deeper.
Yeah, Trent's like, I'll see you at the bar.
Yeah, Trent's just like, fuck this shit. And then our farmer with the lost boy, a.k.a. Ghostbusters 2 painting guy. Just so you don't forget. Do you even
know what he's called?
In Ghostbusters 2? I cannot remember, man. Don't ask me questions after a long day. What's his name?
I'm not going to tell you.
Fucking tell me.
I'm going to wait.
Don't ask me and then never tell me. The audience needs to know too. Because now they don't know. They're just like, Ghostbusters 2 painting guy.
No, every time you say it, they're saying the name to you.
No, they're
not. As they're listening.
I guarantee they're not.
They're like, you fucking dick.
I'm pretty sure they're
Why
not.
don't you know what his name is?
Let's see. Wilhelm von Homburg is his name.
Anyway, he's in there drinking. He's like, man, you guys
Professional wrestling career.
He's like, you guys are really good with all this acting and it's playing up while he's down in a super pint. And the dude's like, hey, man, what happened? He's like, so what happened?
Vigo. Suck it.
What's his last name?
It's too long and I don't
Vigo
want to butcher
Mortensen.
it.
Jesus, dude.
It's not Morganson.
Not Morgan. I didn't say Morganson.
You did say Morganson. I can run it back. Where the fuck did it go?
No one cares. We're not watching
Vigo
Ghostbusters.
the Carpatharian.
And then he's like...
Vigo von Homburg.
He's like, my kid did this to me. And he's like, you look pretty fucked up, dude. And I was like, yeah, man, you see those little Wolverine teeth they got? They're like little honey badgers. They'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys are real committed. You're probably some of the best actors I've ever seen. You're really fucking boring me with how good you're acting. And the old dude's like, I'm real fucked up right now.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, fucking take my advice.
Get the fuck out of here.
You're screwed. No, he's more like just like, yeah, man, wild ride. And then he just shotguns himself.
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry, this will be pretty popular later on in the 90s with Kurt Cobain.
Oh, wow, that's tasteless.
Oh, come on. Like, people that come here for tasteful jokes, please. The Ghostbusters 2 guy offs himself, okay? Courtesy of Courtney Love. There. Now we're full circle and have alienated every Nirvana fan listening. Okay?
Wow.
Anyway, they know it's true. It's fine. And so he's just like, okay, drink's over. I guess I'll head back to the hotel.
Dude, you're missing the whole
again.
point, dude. He said he's a character
Yeah.
that's merely written to do this.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he's like, what, dude?
Oh, because he says, don't do that. And he's just like, this
I
is
have
what...
to.
He's like,
Yeah.
I have to. This is what he's written me to do. So... And, fuck the police. He's just like, I'm going to go back to the hotel.
There's a mob of people outside, though.
There is a mob of people.
And this mob of people, they're kind of, I don't know how you would place these guys. I don't really what they're representing. It's just kind of like...
Wait, is there a mob of people this time?
I think when he runs out, because he goes back to the hotel, right, to find Styles.
Yeah.
And then that's when he sees Pikmin hacking everything up, because everything's just kind of gone topsy turvy now, right? Because he's trying
he goes back up. Well,
because
I guess he does.
Because then when he goes back out of the hotel, Styles is up front with the car, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he punches her in the face repeatedly.
Well, let's talk about the Miss Pikmin part. So he goes back, looking for Styles and stuff. The painting is now the people's faces in the painting is super fucked up, kind of similar to what we've seen with the policemen and and other people, other characters. And then he hears this the sound originating from the basement, so he heads down there. And there's Mrs. Pikmin. She's a
Bro, you missed my favorite part. He goes to the desk looking for Pikmin, and he hits the little bell. He's like, "Where are you, old bitch?"
Yeah, you're right. No, I did laugh at that because I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, man, so Trent got a little loaded. Now he's a little loose with the lips, you know.
Yeah, Trent's starting to crack a little bit here. He just saw a dude blow.
Wait, doesn't he go back up to the hotel first and find her? Because there's that whole scene.
Because then he bolts out. But yeah, he goes up in there looking for her. He's looking for Styles.
Oh yeah. He goes. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so
like,
he runs from Miss Pikmin, who's hacking at her husband.
Yeah, the coleslaw that she promised.
Yeah, she's just like, cafeteria's closed, but we're gonna have plenty of coleslaw in the morning. And you're like, weird. So then he bolts up. He trips going up the stairs. I appreciated that because it showed his loss of composure. Yeah,
he shook,
and maybe a little drunkenness. I don't know.
Yeah,
and Mrs. Pikmin looked really cool. I can't hack for shit, though. I was like, man, she's going to make coleslaw. She's going to be there all fucking night. All fucking night swinging that axe. He goes upstairs. Styles is there. Oh, no, she's not there. She's behind the bathroom door, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, Styles? And because you see all this, like, weird tentacle shit. There's tentacles underneath the door. And you're like, oh, we just saw that.
Type of thing. Yeah. And all these tentacles are flopping around, and he's like, yo.
And then she just opens the door. She's just like, hey, sexy. And he's just like, no. Got bloody tentacle shit going on. I'm not fucking, no, we're done now.
He ain't into that anime shit.
Yeah, he's like, nuh-uh. I'm the tentacle guy, okay? Not you, all right? That's how this works. in every hentai I've ever seen. Anyway, so then she throws him through the fucking door. And,
I like that because you don't really get to, there's not a big reveal of how she's kind of different.
Yeah.
You just kind of get like a little tease of it, and then he's just trapped, and then she just goes flying through the door, and you're like, you should leave, dude.
Yeah, you should go.
And he's like, I will.
Yeah, but not before, punching her in the breadbasket and putting her in the car. He's like, we gotta go. And then, boom, there's the greenhouse that we talked about with the tentacle creature. And there's Mrs. Pickman. She's the tentacle creature in the greenhouse. Yelling for them. And they're driving. And he sees all the fucking people, the mob. They're blocking him from leaving.
He just flips it around.
Well, no, but that's where she gets out. They stop and she gets out. And he's just like, fuck it. And then that's when he flips it around.
Yeah, but don't they fight over the keys? And then she goes to eat the keys, and he's like, what the fuck? And he starts punching her.
Yeah, he starts punching her. He can't get it, so then he hot wires it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because then...
There's another gag really quick.
Yeah, he's fucking... He's like, give me those fucking keys. Come on.
Another great visual example of him losing it. But just I want to teleport really quick back to the beginning of the road trip. Is like... Styles is sleeping, and he goes to the glove department and pulls out a big fucking bike horn, like a little honk honk fart fart kind of thing.
Real fucking I've done this on road trips before.
He puts the caddy in cruise control and he leans over to her. He's like, "Hey, Styles, you sleeping?"
First of all, he doesn't put her in cruise control. That's why I had a problem with the driving. He just lets go of the wheel, everybody, because he's being towed and he doesn't care.
When he's saying towed, everyone, he's like, when people shoot vehicle scenes, the cars are being basically towed to simulate driving. They're not literally being towed because their piece of shit Cadillac broke down.
Yes.
He leans over to her and he's like, "Hey, Styles, you sleeping? I'm just wondering if you're sleeping. I heard you snoring, so I usually mean you got REM sleep going on, and I wanted to know if you're just honk, 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 honk." And she's like, "Motherfucker, what just happened? Did we just wreck and die?" And he's like, "Nah, man, don't ever sleep around me. I'm an asshole."
I'm an asshole. And then she throws chips at him. He's like, "Don't ever throw chips at the driver." And I was just like, what?
He gets real prim and serious.
Yeah, he's just like, fucking...
It made me kind of laugh, and it made me go, what an asshole.
It shows that they already have, like, this fun-loving rapport with each other.
Yeah, like, it wasn't like he was...
We're never going to see this again movie.
Yeah, he farted and he locked the windows, and she was like, "Crack a window!"
She's like, fucking Dutch oven of death! Oh, that's horrible.
So later on, once she eats the keys and he punches her 6 times out of the car, he grabs a flathead screwdriver, and I thought he was going to just jam it in the ignition like you can do on those old-ass cars, and you're just like, that's going to work. He's like, "No, man, I'm going to pop this open. I'm going to do this. Spark, spark, spark." No.
Yeah, he takes his fucking time. He's like, I want to do this right.
But
I want this to keep working.
To also bring attention, the townspeople aren't pressing him.
No.
They kind of just have him zoned off, and almost like they're forcing him to go a certain way.
Yeah. And so he does. And he drives... And, boom, he's back at the center of town again. There's the townspeople doing the same motions. Like, they were just ready for him, waiting.
What the fuck?
So he flips it to you, going the other way, which I appreciate. The first time he went right, the second time he went left. And he pulled away again.
That's another thing that the movie does really well. Like, our main character is not stupid.
Yeah.
And it's a big horror movie thing to basically have the intelligence of your characters just go off a cliff for the sake of a scare, or to put them in a situation where more spooky can happen or gore. He does a great job of staying within his character. He's very rational. He's trying to... He knows something's not right. He needs to get to an area where he can think about everything and kind of devise some sort of plan of attack.
Well, and the first time it happens, he even goes, "It's fine. We're confused. We got lost.
Yeah.
We went in a circle."
He chalks it up to, yeah, exactly. Like, "Hey, man, I fucked up. I zigged when I should have zagged."
Yeah. He's like, "I'm not fucking in a book, story. I'm not being written. I'm good."
Mm-hmm.
And then, it happens a few times, and then he sees the old man kid in a payphone, and he stops the car, and he gets out, and he looks, and he's just like, "The fuck?"
Yeah.
He's like, you're just like, "Oh, is he going to go use that phone or something, like what's happening?" And then Styles
comes out
of the car like an upside down spider crawl type shit where their head's all fucked up, and it's a great mask. I'll say that.
It's a creepy mask. She's doing like this contortionist thing where she's basically walking
Yeah, she's walking.
She's on her hands and.
She's on her hands and feet, but like with her torso facing up.
Yeah.
So her head should be upside down, but it's not. It's right side up.
She's giggling the whole time. It's like this, like really like kind of seductive, creepy giggle of just like real mocking. It's real like Japanese horror video game vibe on it. Like they love shit like that, and I was like, all right, this is fucking cool. I guess I like this.
Yeah, and then she flips. Kind of just like a fucking bear crawl, but the head's upside down now, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Just following him, just letting him leave.
And then he's just like, fuck that shit, gets back in the car by himself, starts it up, drives, and then as he's driving, he goes back into town again. He's just like, fuck, he does it again, he does the U-turn, he leaves, and then he sees her on the bike with the creepy old man child, and she's just like, ha 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 ha, still doing the giggle.
Just mocking him.
Yeah. And he ends up back in town one more time. And this time he's like, enough is enough.
I'm going to hit these motherfuckers.
I'm going to fucking plow right through. So he just gasses it towards them. And they all move. They all fucking move, except for Styles, because she's at the end.
She turns and looks at him. He's like, oh, shit.
And he fucking barrel rolls it, hits a fucking post, and I don't have fucking power for 45 minutes this afternoon. And I'm just like, God damn it, Trent, you fucking asshole.
Does he go in the back of a truck, right? I thought.
Yeah, he destroys the back of one of the trucks. Like, I was like, the Chrysler looked fine. The truck, not so much. The truck's fucking.
It was a Caddy. It wasn't a Chrysler.
Well, whatever it was, it destroyed that truck, and they're insurance. Now he's doing an insurance.
Well, that's back when the Caddies do the killing.
He's just like, yeah, this one's not fucking fraud. This one's me.
Nah, he just left a note and dipped.
Yeah, no, he passes out and then he wakes up in a confessional.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries the door, can't get out. I mean, if I woke up in a confessional, I think I'd be freaked out no matter what. But especially since I know the only church in this town is the black church.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and then you see the creepy light, and then Sutter Kane is he's just there.
He's like, motherfucker, you read Sutter Kane?
You read Sutter Kane? Huh? That's the story, the question of the hour, motherfucker. You read Sutter Kane? He's like, I didn't finish Hobbs In, okay? It was fucking boring. He put me to sleep, okay? He's just like, really? You fucking dick. He's like, well, you don't get to leave till you read it. Okay?
You want me to tell you the ending? I can sum it up for you.
Because it's pretty good. He's like, no, I don't want to. No, fucking books are lame. Stop it. He's like, come on, man. And then Sutter Kane just kind of...
He just puts himself over, right?
Yeah.
He talks about the popularity of his stories. He's just like, he's like, I'm that dude, man. Everyone's reading my shit. He's like, I don't know why you didn't finish that one book, but I get you. You had a sleep.
It's not for everyone, but I mean, I'm just saying it's probably like my fucking best book, until the End of Mouth of Madness releases. But you already know that because you're doing it.
You're a big sleepyhead, and that's okay.
It's fine. That's why I sent that cop to like beat you up in your fucking living room because you don't fucking finish books. I mean, you buy them, you commit to them, but you just don't want to finish it. Like, what the fuck, man? And then I like the scene where all of a sudden he's in the confessional with them, but it was weird because they're like sitting on each other's laps.
I mean, that's a tough shot.
It is, and that's why I almost wish they didn't do it because it was so just distracting. Of like, I did do that.
I think it was weird because they did a top-down shot when you first get introduced to the fact that he's trapped in that confessional box, and they kind of had it good. And I felt like they kind of had a good setup to get there. I felt like they should have just cheated that left wall. And then they could have put Sutter Kane like over his shoulder and shit. Because you've already given us the circumference of the box visually. And now knowing two full-grown men in that space, you're like, that's not going to happen. That's like...
Well, just... My thing is like, okay, knock out a wall, have them stand up.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And just do that. Yeah, it's like... Because, it's just... It ends up really weird that, Trent is sitting on Sutter Kane's lap. And Sutter Kane's like, you didn't read Sutter Kane.
And I mean, there could be like extra, like... I don't know. There could be some subtext in there that we're missing. I kind of have a bunch of theories. I could be completely off base, but I didn't really notice anybody else come up with this stuff. But I'll just get to it when we get towards the end.
All right. Leave us all hanging like that, you motherfucker.
Well, if I tell you now, you're going to be like, well, I guess I can just turn this bullshit off.
Just fuck this podcast. I already know how the movie ends.
3 hours about Friday the 13th fucking remake. eat my ass. I ain't listening to these pickle dicks.
I'm fucking tired. By the way, write in. Do you hate us when we do that, or you're just like, no, carry on? I'm serious. I'm laughing, but I'm serious. We'd like to know.
I got 3 hours to kill. I might as well listen to two dildos talk about a fucking movie that sucked.
I assume people break us up and listen to parts. I couldn't listen to 3 hours of us straight, let alone read 6 Sutter Kane books, but, whatever.
I'm having a hard time living these hours, let alone listening to myself.
Anyway, so...
I meant real life, not podcast life. Yeah, it's going to get real sad.
We know. And so we kick out. We're back in the writer's room. Is that what I call it?
Sutter Game takes him there.
Yeah. Styles is back. Mm-hmm. And then this is where we're introduced to the door.
I love this door. I love it. It's pulsating.
Yeah.
It's almost like
oozy.
It's pushing out. It's gross. It's got a couple of...
It's a living door, I'll say.
It's breathing, right? And it has the planks are over it. If I would go back, if it was me, I would have added a couple of more chains. Like later on, the chain comes off, and it's so just like it just farts right off, and I'm like, man.
Like John Carpenter's behind the camera. He's like, that's the best we could do?
Yeah, it was like, we got one take on the door. And from what I do understand with this movie, it had a bigger budget going in, and they lost a lot of it. So in this part of...
Carpenter shows up on set one day. He's like, listen, guys, gambling debts will catch up to you. We now only have $8 million to work with.
He didn't want to even do this movie. He didn't want to do it in the beginning, and then he came back around. Like some other people joined it. He was like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
All right, that's fine, but I get to do the soundtrack.
There's another thing. I don't listen to the director's commentary. There's no extra information. I don't try to go hyper reading into all the side stories and stuff like that. I just kind of like... some little news
nuggets. That's fair.
But yeah, a bunch of it got cut, so it kind of changed the way the finale comes off. That
would almost explain why I dislike the third act is more than the rest of the movie.
Well, that's where a lot of my theories come in. Full blast is the third act.
Okay, well, so we're in the writer's room. And Sutter Kane's like, your job is to deliver the book. And he gives him the entire manuscript in a black box. And he's just like, you gotta go. I can't hold them back anymore. And then, like Kevin said, the chains pop off the door.
Should have been more chains. I really would have liked to seen, like...
Just 100 chains.
Yeah, like a bunch of chains, and they just slam to the ground. They could be covered in ooze and shit. You're just like, man, you guys have really done everything to hold it back.
You guys love them tentacles.
I get it. It's all metaphorical or whatever. Door, like, breaks... Doesn't it break open and he sees down, like, in the darkness? It's just this abyss, right?
So the chain break, and then Sutter Kane stands in front of it.
Oh, and he peels himself apart.
Himself apart. And that's where the hole comes from. And then he just kind of disappears, and it's just the door. And Trent goes over.
And it's the words. When he peels himself apart, it's ripping like the pages of the book,
like a hole in a book, yeah.
Yeah.
And when Trent pops through the darkness, you just see the words on the book.
Yeah, it's like... Side. Yeah.
And then Styles begins reading, and she reads... verbatim what's happening.
And he is a really good writer, and it's written in really good detail.
God damn it, he's really good.
It's fucking really good.
It made me go, man, this fucking... I was like, hey, Trent, you want to fucking act better? Pretend you're staring into the fucking darkness and you see the scariest shit ever, because I'm not buying it right now. You look like you're just looking through a black hole.
I don't know, man. I liked it. I've not one time really kind of had a problem with his performance. I think he does really well. And I think that's the part where he's transitioning of like, all right, man, there's some bad shit happening.
There's some shit coming toward... Yeah, he takes a little too long to start running. Sutter Kane also has created this weird, like... it looks like an airplane...
It's like a long, like,
tunnel.
Exotic, almost like magical-looking tunnel.
Yeah,
and he's like, that's great. Back to your realm.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, but I do agree that it kind of didn't fit aesthetically.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't fit.
It looked kind of futuristic to me. Like I was like, oh, it's like almost these like barred lights that kind of wrap around.
I mean, if I'm gonna give it anything, so yeah, they went through an old wooden bridge to get there, and now they got to go through a new modern like metal tunnel airplane looking thing,
like,
I guess, you know. It looked like the inside of like the fuselage, but with no chairs.
Yeah, okay,
that's what it looked like to me anyway.
And that's the one thing that the movie does really, really well. It does have a great like feel and vibe and tone, and it really kind of holds true for damn near the whole movie until it does hit the final act, where it kind of starts trying to make you think stuff and make you kind of feel things, and like the tone shifts a little bit.
Yeah. And so he tries to get Styles. She's like, no, I've seen how this plays out. I can't go any further.
Yeah.
Like, this is my story. He takes the book for whatever reason, and he starts running, and then you start to see these old gods, these old creatures come through. I mean, it's practical effects. It's very, rubber suit looking shit, but I mean, yeah, my 2020 fucking vision is it's not that great, but like for 1995, yeah, that would look pretty fucking killer. You know,
they're cool. Yeah, I like that stuff. I like that practical stuff. I thought they were very well designed. I mean, if I have to nitpick, I think some of the shots on them could have been a little more flattering.
That's what I'm saying. The shots were not flattering.
Yeah, there was like a lot of wide shots for them to kind of see them almost feel like they're going to try to trample him. Where I think they should have tried to hid it a little bit better and kind of made it more intense and like brooding, like it's barreling down on him.
like the scene with Styles behind the door, where you're seeing just the shadow.
Yeah,
okay, it doesn't look shitty because you're just seeing the shadow. I wanted more of that, where it's like you never see them. You're like, I think that one could have been just him running, and the audio could have been terrifying, and then you just see the feet. Or something, and that's it. You know, you're like, "Oh shit!" Like, what is it?
Those same lines, while he's running, I think like the less is more, and they look so great and detailed. And I think I totally agree where everything should have went way more black, and he's constantly looking back, and the audio should have just been totally like pumped up. And you get cracks of light, and then they step into the light, so you get that little peek of like, oh shit, cool. And then he just can't keep looking back, and then he falls on his ass because he's just so terrified when he runs.
Yeah.
And then when he hits, he snaps back and looks up, and he's in the middle of a road.
Yeah. I mean, just to touch on that part again, because the reason I don't want to see them is because you are doing H.P. Lovecraft, and H.P. Lovecraft wanted, his whole thing was like, oh, use your imagination. Like, I'm not going to do it. So then I was just like, well, you have this whole nod to him, but then you show me the monsters.
Well, that's like, the whole thing.
Was that your criticism? Was this your H.P. Lovecraft criticism? He was a racist!
It's always less is more, right? So you've already built these things up. You've kind of given me a bad guy, and now you're going to show me the motivation, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really need to see it. Like, I get it. Sometimes you kind of want this big payoff. Maybe that's how you were thinking of. There's this big reward. You get to gaze upon these monsters or these whatever they are. And that's fine, too. It's really kind of just a subjective personal preference of how, I would have ran it back. That's what I would have done. Yeah. I'd have been like, this is more, because you already have enough. You had some boogity moments with the monster on the back of his head. Like, you had little
Mrs.
reveals.
Pickman,
Yeah.
It's like this, I just don't feel... That's what I'm saying, is it deflated the third act for him because it just doesn't reveal. It's not a good reveal. It's like, oh, well, you revealed it, but it wasn't just like, oh, damn.
Well, I guess that's right here. So, like, it's a double-edged sword, right? So, with it being, like, the prime motivator of, like, kind of, like, what's coming and what's going to change the world, you're showing it to us, and now... it's overbearing to even our main character, who just gave him the middle finger to all this to the very end, where he's just like, listen, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is really happening, because now I'm a believer.
Yeah.
And which is fine because it's his story in a way. So when the third act kicks in, we're kind of just left with him and him dealing with everything now. Mm-hmm. So now he's totally about face. He's shook. He knows something's happening. It's bigger than him, and he doesn't know what to do. And how is he going to get through his new reality, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't want to like bury that. I don't want to dump on that scene anymore, but I just think it's hard for the movie to rebound from that because it's such like a crescendo. It's like an apex, right? You're seeing these things. You're like, wow, this is it. This is the...
I'm just saying, we had some dope-ass Southern Kane writing. And then this followed it. And you're like, ah.
Yeah, and I think like would have probably been this is the part where it's real subjective again. If she would have continued to read and maybe describe the monsters,
that'd been great. Like the audio's blasting, she's talking louder to hear, so you could hear her over the monsters.
You have her really low, and then it builds up. Like even their deafening stomps as they glide towards them is like kind of drowning her out. Where she's just like, you're not even gonna hear my words anymore. All you're gonna know is darkness. You know,
sick,
something like that. That's what I would have done.
We're going to do it in the sequel, everybody.
The remake, sequel, reboot, retelling.
No.
Hollywood.
Back to Hobbs End. Dun, dun, dun.
Or in the middle of the road. And he's waking up. He's like, kid, what year is it?
We see a little kid. He's wearing denim.
And he's
not the same little kid, though.
He's got the spokes, the cards in his spokes, the playing cards.
It's supposed to scare you. Think you're seeing the other kid.
Are we really still
He's like,
in
mister,
this
you
reality?
want a paper? He's just like, fuck you, where's the highway, kid? He's like, that way.
He's like, excellent. Yeah. And he's like, kid. He's like, what? And he was like, is the world fucked?
Do you read Sutter King? The kid's like, I don't read anything, mister. He's like, good answer. Except for fucking comic books and jack-off magazines. He's like, hey! He's just like, whoa! He starts pedaling down the road.
Just read the letters I write to your mama in that female prison she in. Whoa, I gotta
go! So
he's like, mama?
And for a guy who's just gone through hell, he's pretty trusting of Sly Stallone and Over the Top, who stops to pick him up on his way to get his kid from graduation.
Pretty sure I would have killed that kid and took his bike, because I'd have been just so cracked out of seeing the face of hell, you know? Yeah. And that's kind of like...
He's pretty standoffish towards the kid, though. Like, he doesn't trust where he's at.
You get in my zone, kid, I might choke you to death.
Yeah. But then he's back, finally.
New York.
And he's gone to see Mr. Hess. He's like, hey.
Jackson?
Yeah, Jackson. But
of the Arcane Publishing.
And he's like, you can't... Oh, no, I'm sorry. He stops at a hotel first. Can't forget the hotel scene. He stops at a hotel, he gets himself cleaned up, right with the Lord, takes the 3 S's, and then he goes down the front desk, and he's like, Trent, package for you.
No, man, he's trying to get a paper.
He
didn't get the paper from the boy, because that shit was dated.
Yeah, dated. He's like,
the boy would want money.
Kind of leave a 1. I'm going to pull ones out and do the Kiwi pretend that I'm going to pay, and then I'm just going to fucking take this paper.
He's like, Kiwi magic strikes again.
He's just like, ooh, it's not stealing if you don't get caught. They're just like, we don't do that, but fuck you. We're number 1 in the world right now.
I'd marry him just to get the rights, to go down there and live happily.
Sam, can I make a proposal to you? Possibly indecent, but...
excuse me?
Listen, I won't do any blowies, but I'll do some over the pants handies anytime you want. Just get me to the motherland. He's just like, I'm in.
He's like, you better try harder than that, boy.
All right, I'll play with your prostate. I know you're old and you're gonna love it. Okay. He's just like, all right, I'm listening.
He's like, you're gonna treat my prostate like a Oreo middle. You
get in there.
Double stuff, homie.
Could you wash first? Jesus, have you been sweating all day?
All stuffing.
All fucking day.
That's what he speaks. He just speaks Oreo sex to you.
That sounds horrible. He's like, come on, get some holiday fucking cake. Get some red velvet cake while you're down there. I'm like, this is not sexy.
Every sexy thing he wants you to do is just Oreo cookie speak.
Do you want Oreo cookies? Huh? We took Oreos and we put them in Oreos. It's cannibalism in the cookies. It's like, yeah, all right, I get it, buddy. You want me to fucking eat your ass and give me a rusty trombone, okay? Just gotta get me there already, all right? I've already given you 5 of these today.
He's like, did you ever see my breakthrough horror, not hit, but cult hit, In the Mount of Madness? There is no Kiwi land.
Oh.
Dummy.
It's real fucked up, Sam. Why would you do this to me?
Now get back to that Oreo McFlurry.
Oh, now you're doing a crossover with McDonald's? You motherfucker, Sam.
No, McFlurry is the speed he wants to perform at. He's like, right now you're at like a Mick crescendo, and I need a Mick 2.
And Mick get going faster.
I tell him the same, and the ice cream machine's broken.
The ice cream machine is broken. Do you want an apple pie?
He's like, you trying to meme me, motherfucker?
All right, Sam, just fucking. You want this Russian trombone or not? I'm trying to get to the quickie mart, okay?
Hey, Trent, you got a package?
Trent, Mr. Trent, you got a package?
Who sent it?
Oh, no one knows I'm here. I don't fucking know.
He's ready to beat this kid's ass.
He's gonna throw hands with this young boy whose shitty job is working at this shitty motel in the middle of nowhere. And his dad comes in, he's like, I fucking saw it. No one delivered. No one puts hands on my boy. Like, he just comes out, he's just like, he didn't do nothing.
Yeah, man, if someone was beating your son's ass for a rusty trombone.
and then Trent's just like, fine.
Trent's like, I may have got out of hand.
All right. I may have also stolen a newspaper, but good luck proving it. I need a smoke break.
Yeah.
And then he's just there, and he's just like, thank God for... Yeah, he's like, thank God for porcelain sinks, because I'm about to burn this entire thing. And then now we're back in New York.
So one of my theories, I guess, is probably pretty obvious. So is Trent Moses?
No, Charlton Heston's Moses.
That's what I'm saying. Like, take my word and take it to the people. Right?
I guess, but let's hold off on that, because there is a part here.
So he's Jesus, and the old gods are God.
There's a part here at the end that I don't like a lot. Like, because it does not fit with the rest of the movie, and there's some issues there. So he goes back to Hess, and he's like, hey, Hess, you can't publish the book. Yeah, you keep saying that.
Well, no one knows what you're talking about, because this guy's in the scene for
no one's sitting there going, Jackson, you can't publish the book. It's Charlton Heston. He's playing Charlton Heston. The guy's got a fucking gun loaded, sitting on his lap. He's just like, mouth off, you fucking Kiwi. I'll pop you. I'll pop and lock. You got sticky fingers in my office. You get in the corner with that other guy. He tried to steal a pen. That's where I put him. That wasn't in the script. That guy caught it. No one else did, okay? Anyway,
I think that might be
you
a deleted scene.
Print the book. And he's just like, what are you talking about? Have you been reading Sutter Kane? He's like, because you're a little crazy. And he's like, we already published the book. You brought the book back to me in July. The movie's coming out next month. And I was like, now we're bringing calendars and shit into this? I don't know how long he's been missing for. I don't understand the time lapse here, because you've never given me anything before this. I get that he came in July. We're now not in July. We're past, and he's come back sounding crazy. But, hi movie, you didn't give me any sort of timeline to know that he's crazy. You're just telling me, and I have to take your word for it. But you've just shown me that you're not trustworthy with reality. So why would I trust this either?
I think that's the point, though.
I guess, but I really didn't like it. It just didn't feel like it fit organically with the movie. Like, I understand what it was doing, but it seemed like a really, almost like a cheap fix, and I didn't like it.
But, like, to me, like, it didn't really matter, right? Because the whole point is he already knows it's already in play. It's already happened, right? Mm-hmm. So you're trying to follow the story. To what level has it already happened? It's in a meta sandwich, and you get it more than ever towards the very end. So it's just like, what version of this world are we watching? So we could be watching the 5th installment, the 3rd loop, you know what I mean, the 27th loop, because he's seeing it at one level. But it's already done, because there is already a movie, and then he sees the movie, and then he sees it happen like verbatim, and then he's like, what? But it's already in the book. I think it's just him wrestling with the idea of like that control, right? And that being a tool. I don't really think it's not so much the acts are really happening. I feel like the acts are just representations of like, control and like the fear of religion and how religion controls. You know what I mean? I think it's just screaming all those things, because he's like, oh, how's it going out there? He's like, it's getting pretty bad, right? So all these guys are zealots. They're following this ideology that this man brings in these books. And he's like, you got to read it pretty closely. And then there's some characters in the movie that are like, I don't read that stuff. And he's like, well, for the people that don't read, we have the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a way that this message is going to get to you no matter who you are and where you are is what they're saying. Hence, it's translated in all these languages and stuff like that. I was like, this is organized religion. That's what this is. That's all this is. And it's controlling these people to these lunatic, maddening ways.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and that's another thing, how religion affects all the world. That's, to me, that's all this is. And I mean, that's could be just super mega obvious, but that's the only thing that I ended up seeing it as, of you're like bringing the word of God to these people.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely like a Revelations
for sure
feel to that whole.
And
like,
I think it's ending. Like, and when Jackson's saying all that stuff, he's kind of like, it's already out there. It's already bigger than you. It's already happened with or without you. In the time frames is just more to show, I felt, his breakdown and that clear disconnect of him trying to like puff up again. Like, no, I'm the old Trent. I do these things and stuff like that. And I put my foot down. They're like, bro, you're already broken. You're already broken. You've lost so much control. You don't even know what fucking day it is. Your left shoe's on your right foot. You're fucked up, bro. And I think that
You're peeing in jars. You won't go outside. You got a fucking beard.
And that's what it came. That's what I took it as, of like, dude, you're off the track. You're not that same character that came in here all fucking ready to like prove everything wrong. Yeah. This shit, you're a victim to it. You came, and you are a statistic now. Fuck you. That's like, you're broken. This is your punctuation on how broken you are. While this 1%er guy over here is like, man, I don't fuck with it. I only fuck with the greenbacks. And you thought you were bigger than it, and you'll never be bigger than it. You'll never be bigger than this religion. It's bigger than all of us. But I know my role in it, and I don't drink that Kool-Aid, but everybody else does. So that's how I took it. I didn't really hold him to the calendar dates. I hold him more to like, you're not that character in the beginning of the movie. You're broken. It broke you. You thought you were tough. You're nothing. That's how I took it.
Yeah. I can see your point, but it's still just...
I think you're trying to look at his fiscal quarters and be like, listen, there's no way that movie would have came out of this. That's a summer blockbuster if you've ever seen one.
Well, it's like you're giving me fine details that we haven't had before. So yeah, I'm paying attention to that. But then it goes right into my next problem. Okay, so we see the world going to hell. Mm-hmm. And we're at a bookstore. People are still buying the book. This guy comes out.
They're not even really buying the book. They're like frothing. It's a borderline riot to get this. Like, it's just teetering.
Like Harry Potter madness all over again, but with like tentacles. And a guy comes out of the bookstore. He's already kind of got the cold sores and the bleeding. It kind of looks a little bit like the bookstore guy from before, but not.
Yeah, reminiscent.
You know, he's I don't know. And then there's Trent, and he's just like, do you read Sutter Kane? And I forget what the guy says back. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, is this fucking is this a meta sandwich? Of course I fucking read it, you dick. And then he's like, did you already know why I'm gonna do this? And he pulls out an axe and
he's like, no, dude, I haven't read this one yet. I just bought it.
Fuck.
There's another funny line where she's like, in the very beginning in the publishing house with Styles, she's like, you want to read some of the books? They do offer him a book now that I remember it. And he's like, you got anything on tape? Read is for bitches. And the elevator closes. I was like, I like
got anything on tape?
Yeah. I was like, man.
Then he read all fucking 5.5 of
Did he just like call out Audible?
He kind of did, yeah.
He was like, I'll see you in 35 years.
Yeah. And so now we're back at the insane asylum.
Yeah. We were full circle.
The doctor is just like,
okay. He's like, man, so like, what else? And he's like, no, man, there is nothing else. I just told you everything. He's like, it's pretty bad out there, isn't it? He's like, yeah, well, I gotta go.
He's like, let's just worry about getting you better.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, let's just focus on that.
I like that. He no-sells everything.
Yeah.
He's recording his whole conversation. He's just sitting there on his cancer stick. Fucking, he's like, did I do good? Did I tell you the story? You didn't pop for anything. You just stared at me.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like the ramblings of a psychopath, right?
Yeah. Well, and we should point out that Trent is on the cover too in The Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, that's a little tease. There's a little part where he revisits the alley and all the smash cuts of his the weird premonitions. He pulls the poster back, and that's his face, and he starts seeing it. He's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, and then you see the cover. He's on the cover, and which is probably why people are just like, "Oh, it's that fucking guy." You know, they read the book and they're like, "It's that guy. It's him." You know.
Wait, did you say that? You said that Trevor took the old hatchet to the guy?
Trent.
Trent.
God damn it, his name's not Trevor. Yeah, he took the hatchet to the guy, and then we're back at the insane asylum because we cut away from that.
Yeah. Okay.
So. And so the doctor leaves, and then the orderly in charge of the place is like, it's getting pretty bad out there, and he's just like, yeah, like we're all fucked. And then some shit visits Trent. Some shit. And then we get
spookies.
Some more spookies. He's staying away from the door, but we see some shit in his room with him for a minute. And
I like this. I like the shadow work they do with this and controlling like what they want to show you again.
That's what I wanted in that tunnel. So.
Which is understandable, because I agree with the point of we've reached that apex, and now you want to tease me with more spooky.
Yeah.
Like you've already cat's out of the bag, you know. So exactly. I can't really.
It looks good, but you're just like, just fucking show me now.
Yeah,
like, you already showed me shit. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, just throw me another ghoul or something, because it. My only counterpoint to that is like it could be toning down of like he's not at ground zero anymore, right? At Hobbs, so maybe it's kind of like.
I don't know, because we come out and we see a bunch of carnage.
So here's the thing. And this is what I go back to the point where you bring up the dates, because I feel like it's very pinnacle, but it's not. When you go back to that office at the Arcane book publisher, you're no longer with Trent on this adventure, right? Mm-hmm. You're not holding hands with him anymore. He's not taking you through that world. You've kind of let go of him. And now you get to watch him crumble. And I think that's what you're really getting, is like now as the viewer, you're stepping back and you're seeing his ultimate just crushing fall. Because now we've caught up with him. He is going to be committed. He is losing track of days and nights. The Sutter Kane bug bit him, and now I'm surprised they didn't. I'm glad they didn't give him the double eye thing. Yeah. But then he does pull the axe. So you're just like, is he really losing it, or is he trying to stop what he already knows is coming because he stared into the fucking eyes of the Lord? You know what I mean? And I think I like that the more that I think about it. But you bringing that point up makes me see that of like, man, as the viewer, you're back in kind of boring New York, and it's still kind of the chaos and stuff. When we've seen like the Resident Evil town, the creepy mansion, we've seen all your ambient spooky stuff, and now we're back to okay. But what are we really back to? And I think it does a good job of doing that. So,
yeah, and then so he's just he's the lone survivor in the insane asylum.
Yep.
So he just leaves. He just walks out.
He backs up, and they keep a long shot on him as he starts going back and back and back into sort of the chaos. So you see like the wreckage, the sparks, the blood smeared on each cell door. And then someone cuts in front of the camera, the little spooky and they run in front of the pushed-in camera, or the long shot. And then he wanders outside. It's real 28 days later. There's like papers blowing everywhere, and there's just chaos, smoke billowing out, ambulance busted open, some more blood speared there. He's hitting the city. It's just full-blown chaos. Just it's not as dramatic as you would think, and like there's no cars tipped over and just billows.
It's very empty.
It's very ghost towny. Yeah. And on the
maybe you're kind of building the narrative of maybe very Rapture-esque.
That's what I felt just watching everything and making my own deductions. Yeah. And then what's on the marquee, man?
In the Mouth of Madness,
starring
John Carpenter, starring Trent.
Yeah. And he's like,
oh, we're not gonna get too meta. I see.
Yeah, he's like, I ain't seen this cut.
I haven't seen this cut. And so Trent goes and gets some popcorn. He sits down, enjoys the movie. Someone fires it up for him at the beginning.
Yeah, and he's just kind of like, just runs.
Get the balls line again.
Just runs all.
Trent finds it hilarious.
Yeah, and that, you know what? I super love this. Is he's just kind of like. He's completely gone now. He's eating the popcorn. He's watching it. And he's like, this shit looks familiar. Oh, fuck. This is real good.
Yeah, we just get some of the greatest hits of the movie we just watched. Because Trent's watching the movie.
That we just watched
the movie.
He, quote-unquote, just lived.
Yeah.
And
we are now officially a part of the movie.
Right.
Or the movie's a part of us.
Correct.
Or we're all in the book.
Exactly.
Watching the movie.
Couldn't agree more.
Of the book.
And he starts laughing, and then he starts weeping.
Yep. And
he's like, fuck, this sucks. I am thy broken man, stare upon me.
Yeah. And then that's it. Cue the fucking hangover 80s rock music by John Carpenter and the other guy whose name I forget.
John Carpenter, probably.
No, it was John Carpenter, like you something. It was like YOO. Yeah, so Kevin, what's other than some other theories, or you want to finish up?
It was mostly. I just tried to touch base on that. I just think it's a parallel. It's with. I know it's like the religion to me. That's all I kind of saw, and it kind of.
Well, yeah, when you see that monolith of a fucking church, and
and I think that's kind of like, it's. I think just more of the representation of the writing and the control and how the people react, and then that's kind of really how I took it. Horror movies are notorious for having these kind of elaborate set pieces sometimes to kind of these grandioso things to just represent, oh, look at this just pinnacle of evil, and you're kind of like, all right, this could have been a deep, dark cave. This could have been a log cabin. It could have been anything. Yeah. It's a little Alan Wake. It could have been any of those things. But they chose that. I remember it was just like a great set that they found and they wanted to use, right? And it worked. So a lot of those things, like I guess originally the whole town was supposed to rip up and stuff. So you got to see the town break down. So it really wasn't that repeating car driving spot and the paper tearing of the author like that. It was supposed to be a little bit more elaborate, but they were kind of like, we're cutting your funding. And he was like, well, I guess we're doing this version then.
Goddamn gambling debts.
And I thought that worked fine too, because the movie's so slow and small and subtle. To have this over-the-top, big, bombastic thing, I don't think really would have fit. And that's just one thing I really like about the movie, is it's tonally, it still stays in line. It creates good atmosphere and ambiance and stuff. Like, I agree with you. I think the beginning is way strong. You get even the second act is pretty strong, where you're kind of pulling back the layers, and most of the time that's where you get lost, right? You get bored. Let's hurry up and get to the finale where the big boogas and the boogie scaries. But this was kind of just building more on his adventures and not so much the scary stuff, I thought.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, and that's why I have a problem with the third act, is just like, it kind of like when we get into the town, like when we get that date, because there's almost nothing for them to do.
Right.
He's like, I'm right. And she's like, you are right. Mm-hmm. And then there's no trying to get out. There's no, like, at that point, he doesn't technically need to stay. Yeah. He's proven that Hobson is a town.
He's like an atheist, right? He don't believe. Exactly. And she's like trying to convert him. She's like, maybe you should believe. Maybe you don't read it so well. Maybe
I'll convert you with some boom chicka bam bam. Right. And he's just like, oh, I'm listening.
Yeah, and she's trying to sway him with all these different things, and this is kind of where I got the idea from. I mean, there's probably some asshole wrote a 28-page paper on this.
He's like, in 1996, I wrote my fucking thesis on this movie.
How it was based in religion and the way that the government controls you in religion, and fuck you, your podcast. I'm like,
fuck your podcast. There's like 17,000 blog posts about this. You ain't a fucking drop in the goddamn bucket, okay?
I liked it.
Glad you watched it, though. Would you read my thesis? No, not at all.
Like, I agree with you, like, on that, where it's just like, it's his story and his journey, right, of this conversion, of this belief system, of this ideology and stuff. But it also wants to give you the spooky. Is it really about the author and the town and what we're kind of building in it? But it's like, well, why is he building it? Oh, it's for the new gods. It's like, oh, okay, to make you a believer, not the people, because the people will believe no matter what. I'm concerned with you. Mm-hmm. And you're like, all right. And then the audience is like, oh shit, man, do I believe? What's going on here? And then at the third act, you're like, hey, bro, you're on your own. And then you get to sit back, and there's no more spooky, right? Yeah. And so now you're trying to get like answers, and the movie's like, well, there's really no answers. It was more of a destination, journey.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And you're like, this is...
it's kind of like we already gave you the answers.
Exactly.
You know how it ends.
Because we started with the ending, right? So it's one of those things where you're like, we just want to see how we get there, because everything else kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. Like, I like it till you get to the town. I like the road leading to the town. You just get to that town, and it's like, okay, either I needed to be, at that point, I either need Styles to just be my fucking glossary of everything Sutter Kane, and is just crippling me with boredom of telling me every little thing to expect, every little nuance and nook and cranny of the town.
That would have been actually really good instead
Yeah.
of going to the black church to see the spooky kid and the crazy villagers.
Yeah.
If you would have kept it a ghost town and she'd been like, I'm pretty sure this is the town he grew up when he was a boy. Yeah. He's like, that's where they teased him and stuff like that. You could have done like some little, nickel tour of that, and he could have been like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to put him over some sort of God? Some sort of like, Jesus here?
And that's the other thing is I needed Trent's focus to shift.
Yeah.
When he got to that town. He proved the town's there. He needs a different mystery to solve.
Well, yeah, because
he already solved that mystery. He got to the town, he proved it, and yeah, he goes there, he's like, ooh, Sutter Kane, and then she's like, oh, I don't know Sutter Kane, and he's just like, we'll see. But then they go to the church, and then instantly they're just like, Sutter Kane, he's like, all right, fucking
yeah, there was no more discovery. It was just like, we got to the town, there he is.
Something else, because the rest of the time, I'm just like, okay, I get that now you're a believer.
More clues to the book. More clues could have, like, you know what I mean? He could have maybe sacrificed more clues by venturing more into the book or to her lore and losing his own sanity. So he's like, I'm going to risk some of my sanity just to bust this fucker right now because I'm calling bullshit. But he slowly starts drinking the Kool-Aid. But he's like, no, I'm just using this to get more clues. That would have been cool because now he's got that juxtaposition. He's just fighting himself. He's like, do I believe? Do I not believe? And that's kind of the whole venture, right? Is he a believer or is he not? At the end, we made you a believer. Not only are you a believer, you're taking my gospel to the fucking people. Get the fuck out of here. You're never going to be bigger than me. You're a fucking man. That's it. You're immortal. Get out of here. And I've been like, oh shit, that's heavy. And I think kind of that's what they wanted to do, but it kind of drops and pops and loses it here and there.
And I do think he was supposed to be like pseudo famous after he came out. I don't think that came across very well. It wasn't really until you pointed that out that I would even consider that in the beginning. And like even when he's standing from the bookstore, it's like, it just doesn't really, like, especially when it's like, okay, I'm the guy. I come in, I say, don't publish the book, and you already know I'm on the cover. I get you didn't read it, but you didn't.
Well, see, that's
clear
another
the fucking
thing where
cover.
I drew. He's like, I've come from the mountain. I've brought the word, and everyone's gathering around like, are you that dude? Are you that dude?
Yeah, but
I don't believe you. You didn't get that. Oh, he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they don't show that.
They don't show it. They almost lead on to it with the doctor in the beginning, the Dr. Warren or whatever. Yeah. But he no-sells everything.
Yeah.
He just listens, and he's like,
that's my problem. It's just like,
he's like, okay. Like if that doctor would have been like, yeah, man, we got him. What do you want to do? He's like, let him loose, let him rot. Don't matter to me.
Or even the doctor had the copy and he just pointed to the cover. It's just like anything.
Yeah.
But it's like the book publisher just looked you.
It doesn't translate, right?
Doesn't look at the cover and go,
the guy with the axe, before he axed the guy.
Yeah.
The dude could have looked at the book and looked at him. He's like, it's you.
Like so many things.
It's you. You're the mouthpiece for him, right? Yeah. You brought the word. Something.
Yeah.
I mean, that might have been too on the nose, but something along those lines.
I mean, he could have just been like, you, and then boom, axe, like just interrupt him.
Yes.
You don't get to finish that.
Yeah. That'd have been, I'd have took that.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, especially rewatching it, just, again, third act wasn't the strongest for me. And I remember the first time I watched it, I had the same problem where I was just like, okay. And it's fitting that it ends in a movie theater because that's how this would have originally been viewed. You would have been sitting in the theater, watching this guy sit in the theater, watch the same movie that you just watched.
Real on the nose, man. Yeah. Real on point.
It would have been a total, mind fuck at the time.
And don't get me wrong, that's one of the things the movie does really well. I think it's real. That's its main goal, and I think it nails it in spades. It does a great job of that. It's just, I think it's the narrative that gets a little boggy of like, what am I watching? Is it this character's journey? Is it his struggle? The ambiance and stuff inside, I agree, it kind of falls off after that second because, I mean, I don't know. I said it a million times, but would you recommend it?
I would say yes, especially if you haven't seen it. I think it's definitely a movie worth seeing once. I don't think it has a lot of replay value. I have not watched this since the first time I watched it. Like, I just have had no desire. It's one of those movies where it's like, after you see it and you know all the twists and turns, you're kind of like, well, there's not really a whole lot to get out of a second viewing unless you just really got into it the first time. And like, okay, where are all the nuances and all this hidden shit and everything. But I think it does such a good job of not really hiding that much that you don't particularly need that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was fun rewatching it for the first time in, 15 fucking years or whatever. You know, like that was fine. That was great. But so I'd recommend it if you haven't seen it, or if it's been 15 years since you've seen it. Yeah, definitely worth rewatching at least once.
I can agree with that. I think if you haven't seen it, it's very much worth a watch. You haven't seen it in a long time. If you want to conversate about it, it's a good movie to talk about, because I think there's a lot of things going on that you can talk about. I think it's a good conversation movie. I think it's a good. There's some, because it's open. It's got a lot of things to chat about, or you could watch it and be like, yeah, I didn't get it. I wasn't scared. I don't think it's really about being scared. I think it's just really what it's trying to represent. So
I did. That's why I think the beginning of it's getting bad out there. I think all that stuff's more terrifying than the third act.
Because I think it just goes back to you don't see it. Yeah. You've been introduced into a world that looked like a ghost town already, and now my character knows something that we don't know. So I want to find out. And then as they slowly do that, but then they forget about it in a way, right? It kind of shifts the priority shift. But it's worth a watch for sure, especially if you're looking for something. If you like retro, you like old horror movies, 1995. I don't get much older than that. I mean, it does, but check it out. It's In the Mouth of Madness. John Carpenter. He's a legend. So, and this, it's Us Versus Movies. It's a podcast. Where's it at, Dustin?
You can find it on Buzzsprout. You can find us on any podcast provider. The Stitcher, Castbox, Apple, Google, Spotify, all that fun stuff. We appreciate all the likes and comments that you've been giving us on Twitter and Instagram. You can definitely find us at Us Versus Movies on there. And, let us know. Do you like this runtime? Do you not care if we go fucking 3 to 5 hours on an hour and a half movie? Are we talking too much? You're just shut up, assholes. We need your feedback to improve, and we appreciate it. So thanks, and see you next week.
Stay spooky.